You got it locked on Roadium Radio.
Hey Tony, drop that what bass?
I bet. Dr. Dre in the place to be. Co-rockin' shit with my homeboy Steve. After Roadium, get stupid, yo. Don't think that you can get none of Dre. The motherfucking doctor, the bitch hopper, the sucker motherfucking stopper. I'm fucked up, so don't mind what I'm saying. I'm just kicking it, but Steve, Tony, A.M., Susan, yo, we can choose it. Dope shit to put in a mix. Know what I'm saying? We kick shit like and that's a fact. And if your shit ain't in the mix, you know it's whack. And that ain't no bullshit. I'm kicking facts on a serious tip. Word up, Dr. Dre's in full effect doing serious damage, boy.
Tony A! Tony A! When you're ready, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 151. Can you believe that? 151. 49 more shows, and we're at 200. That is crazy. And I was just telling my guest earlier that I didn't think I was going to be here no more than 2 months, but guess what? I'm still here. But let me go ahead and give a few minor announcements before I introduce my very special guest. Well, at least one of my very special guests. We are now on TikTok, so I never would have thought I would have been on TikTok, to be honest with you. But somebody convinced me that we need a TikTok page if we want to continue to expand. So you can follow us at Roadium Radio on TikTok, or I think it's at Roadium Radio on TikTok. And we're going to be having content there that I won't be posted on my Facebook or on my Instagram or on my YouTube page. I guess like some funny shit. So if you guys want to get a kick and laugh at me, go to TikTok, Roadium Radio, okay? Make sure you guys, I think it's subscribe or follow, whatever you guys do. Go check us out there. With that being said, continue to send me your music at roadiumradio@gmail.com. I will get to it eventually. I have a team that looks into it. Whatever they see fit, when we strategize to put who where, then I will contact, or somebody from my team will contact you to book you here for an interview. We got a lot of great guests coming. But with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it because I don't want to waste any more time. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce all the way from the Harbor area, city of Carson, Gutta.
What's the deal, Tony? How you doing, man? Glad to be back.
Yes, you know what? I'm glad you said that because you were episode 106. That was back in October. I think it was October 28th. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir.
And
Wednesday, yeah.
45 episodes ago.
Damn, time's been moving.
Yeah, time's been moving.
Definitely.
And you know what's crazy, bro? Because when that episode came on and you took off early,
yeah,
and we didn't get a chance to get pictures.
Yeah, the kids, man, they needed me. I had to get to the house.
Right. No, it's all good.
Yeah, man.
But the reason why I bring that up is because somebody on the comments said, Tony, you did Gutta Gun wrong. You did. You cut out his interview because on the thumbnail, it only has that other guy, Jimmy, from Urban Kings.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they thought like I cut
out my part of my interview off.
No, it's there. It's episode.
Yeah, it's definitely there, man. I had to shake early. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get in the pick, but shit, we back now.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
man.
I mean?
So how you doing, man? Because since October, what has been going on? Because I know you guys were going to have a video release party or shoot a video at Neptune Liquor.
Anchor Liquor in Carson. Yeah,
Anchor Liquor.
We did the album release party that Sunday. It was November 1st. It was dope, man. We had everybody out there. Probably had 200, 250 people out there, you know what I mean? We had free tacos. The whole neighborhood came out. We had a DJ, you know, I was selling hard copies of merch. I just wanted to really like tackle, like get back to the hood, you feel me? Like I grew up in this neighborhood. Everybody around me knows me. From the Filipino ladies to the paisas around the corner. Everybody see me grow up in this neighborhood. They watch my story. I caught my case in that parking lot, you know what I'm saying? So it meant a lot to me to do it there.
Right.
The sheriffs didn't let it last.
Really?
Yeah, they shut it down after 2 hours, but they could have did it a lot worse. Knowing my reputation and like the way we used to move, you know, like we brought a lot of attention to ourselves growing up. So we weren't new to the police, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we got raided multiple times. My family, like we're no stranger, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they came, they were definitely ready to start getting, you know, you got 200 gang member people, you know, you got 50, 60 gang members on the main street along with other people and no problems are going on. Everyone's having a good time, enjoying the vibes, and they're really there to support. And I think for people, they want to see someone from from their Gutta, from their stomping grounds, from where they grew up at to make it. Because I feel like at that point you're the voice of that section. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. The owner at the liquor store, you know, he talked to the sergeant or whatever, and he just basically let everybody leave peacefully. Right. No one got arrested, no problems. There was no, and then that was a blessing in itself. You know what I mean? I wish it would have ran a little bit longer because had a few people pulling up that were getting there a little bit fashionably late, but at the same time, it was great.
Okay. So you didn't tell me that you guys had free tacos.
I think I did, man. I think I did.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that video, bro, because I think you're lying, bro. I would have been there, but no.
Anything for tacos, huh?
So you said you had a DJ tacos. About how long did it last? Before
about
the cops,
2 hours.
And then the cops just came over and cock blocked everything.
Yeah, they came out deep. Well, yeah, they came deep. They rode up probably 8, 9 squad cars deep. Hopped out quick. I just, you know me, I'm not on parole anymore. I done been through the process since I was 13 years old. So I hop out. Tell them I don't pose no threat, give them my ID, run my shit, run my name. Right, I'm chilling right here doing good things right here. Do they know you're doing it? The owner of the liquor store is right there, you know? Yeah, but at the same time, you kind of have to, you got to watch your tone, but you also have to, don't let them come at you like you're some type, I don't know. I've had a run-in with the police since I was a kid. I have an awkward respect for them. Like how I learned, yeah, this is y'all world, I'm just living in the type shit, you know? Right. Because no one's bigger than the law, you know what I'm saying? They got the ultimate gang going. So I killed him with kindness, did my shit right. And there was a female cop. She really wanted to get to it. She wanted to get to it. You know, she had it in her eyes. She was ready to. She wanted to start throwing shit around. You know, and
you know what? Why, man? And I don't want to paint an ugly picture, but I think if you're a male living in the hood, you'll understand what I'm about to say. Not to trying to pick on anybody, but why are female cops the worst?
Man, territorial. You got to realize they're coming into this section, they're coming into this precinct, and there's 70% men, probably 55% thirsty, you know, 15% married and going into their life, you know what I mean? But you have to be around that all day. I think it gives the females a jacket, maybe like some type of jacket, like a grudge on their shoulder, or like a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. That's what I think. You know, I don't think it's personal because I think they go home and are normal females and just live their life. But it's like when you go to work, you got to put on your suit. You know what I mean? And maybe that it comes along with the territory.
You know, the last time, and I don't say this like braggingly, I was ever in county jail was like 1994.
Man, thank God.
And I'll tell you why I went, because I don't care. I had over $17,000 worth of warrants. Because
you just didn't go to court.
I just didn't give a shit. Yeah. You know, what happened was I cut somebody off according to the cop. I had tinted windows according to the cop. They were too dark. My lights weren't on according to the cop. So to me, they were all bullshit tickets. And I was like, I don't know, 23, 24. So I would just crumble them up. And I used to tell them, I'm not going to pay for them. I should just fucking throw them in the glove compartment. So one day, a cop pulled me over. Yeah. And he said, okay, I'm just going to let you off with a warning. So he gave me something. I was like, oh, shit. So I opened it, and they all fell out. So he says, what the hell is that? And I said, I don't know. You want them? And I just gave them to him. And he looked, and he took me in. But you know what the crazy part is? No lie. He's taking me to Carson Sheriff's right here, okay?
Oh, man. Hate that place.
He's driving, and he runs out of gas. He runs out of gas. So I'm like this, okay? And then I said, hey, if you trust me, I'll go get you some gas, and I'll come back. Honest to God, and he said, okay. So I went and I came back and I gave him the gas and I go, here, you know, you're gonna handcuff me? And he was like, no, I trust you. And he put me in the back. Seriously.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a warrant, I think to them it's like, I don't know how they work. I don't know nothing about that, but I think to them, even though it's a warrant, they're still bringing somebody in. Right. They still, I don't know. They say they don't have quotas. I think the streets think they have quotas. We don't know. You know, we'll never know. Right. But I think that's what it was. He probably was just like, fuck it, this dude's cool. I'm taking him in anyway.
And you know, I was supposed to do I was supposed to go to 7 different courts.
I would have got out of
it. For real?
Yeah, I would have got out of it fast.
Honestly, I wasn't doing nothing that weekend, so I was just like, fuck it. You know, let me just go see the homies in there.
I was on the run growing up a lot, you know, and it took me the last time I want to turn myself in, I was over it. Looking over my shoulder all the time, you know what I mean?
You know what the worst thing is about county, bro? It's the processing.
Definitely.
Fuck, dude.
Definitely. Processing is the worst.
The worst, dude. I remember when they called my name, you're being released. Okay, cool, whatever. I'm thinking I'm going to be out in a couple of minutes. Hell no. It was like 12, 14 hours, man.
Yeah, man. I've been in those things a few times. It's rough. It's rough. You got to be strong-minded.
Yeah.
You could be weak. It could be real bad for you in there. You know.
I'll tell you what. When I was released and they opened up that big ass metal fucking sliding door, I ran the fuck out of it. I vowed I'll never come back again, bro. Never.
Man.
So
feel it.
So that's a good thing, man. So now, so you were handing out CDs, tacos, DVDs. CDs. What came next after that? Because I know you haven't been here since October. So fill us in.
Honestly, I was just back to the drawing boards. Like I said, I'm an independent artist, so I just wanted to test something. I wanted to put a plan together and execute it. So it was about 5 months. Some of my boys were a part of it. You know what I mean? The people that are in my circle, you know, that I trust their feedback.
Right.
And I wanted to prove myself. You know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna lock down. I'm gonna put all this effort into it, and I want to see the outcome. The outcome was great. I met a lot of new artists, producers. Basically, what I was looking for. Right. I'm out here grinding, so my talent can speak for itself. And it's gonna be inevitable. People are gonna want to work. It's just gonna gravitate. If you try to force it and hey, work with me or DM and hey, let's get a feature, or people are gonna have hurt feelings.
Right.
People are gonna get emotional. Rap is a very egotistical game. If you have emotions, you probably shouldn't be in this game, because you shouldn't have emotions like this. You know what I mean? Right. It's business.
Right.
So I feel like that's what happened with me. I did the project. I met a lot of people. I learned a lot of things. I was able to see things from a different point of view because I've never experienced that, so I got to look back. I just worked, pretty much that. I fell back because I started seeing my daughter. I got custody of my daughter, so that was like my number one priority. I had an issue, you know, me and my daughter's mother, you know, we had a bad little issue, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But things have gotten better, so I feel like I put a lot of effort into try to fix that.
Right.
And then just from there, just ease back into the music, started working with some artists. We dropped a single, like last month, we dropped a single, Everybody, featuring the homie Kenai, YDM, and Big Stun. And we did the video for it, shot by Sammy.com right out of Wilmington. I'm pretty sure you met Sammy.
Right.
And we're just working. I'm sitting on a lot of music, a lot of features. I'm filling it out. You know,
dope, man.
I rushed into 2020 because, like I said, I was at that edge from my last little peak, you know, my little moment of music. So I wanted to just get back out there, consistent. And I felt like I did a great job at that. Now I can sit back and strategize a little bit better and put the money or the time and effort into the right slots so the initial plan can blossom. You know what I mean?
You know, let me give you your flowers right now, brother, because when I booked you for the first time back in October and I posted up your flyer, there's very few artists that I booked here that get how do I want to word it?
No hate mail?
No hate mail, bro.
Yeah, because the respect goes a long way in the streets.
No,
I was really out
yes.
here. I wasn't a killer. I wasn't out here doing the most, but I really didn't care. Mm-hmm. The mentality of not caring, of being careless,
right?
It fears people.
Right.
Damn, because even the toughest guy cares about something.
Right.
You know, I didn't care or nothing. And people seen that in me.
Right.
So, and then they watched that transformation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where it comes from. And the people that don't have nothing nice to say, they just don't say it.
Right.
Because I'm not out here dissing my enemies on the music. That's not the platform that I'm using with my music.
Right.
There's a creativity in everybody. And if I can go the route, I can talk about my hood and go do all that, it's easy money.
Right.
I'm a white essay. It's easy. But why go that way when I have a story to tell that I don't have to go sell out and try to be something that I'm not? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I got to respect in the pen. This is exactly how I talked. This is exactly how I moved. I got no tattoos, but I'm on the yard with it. And everybody's seen that about me. I didn't act like the toughest guy in the yard, but when it was business, it was time for business.
Right.
And that's just how that made me strong. The streets raised me, you know? So that respect, that I think that's just from the underlying respect.
Right.
You know, I don't push that negativity anymore.
Right.
10 years ago, I'm pretty sure some comments and people will tell you I did some crazy shit. You know, your son can definitely been a witness to a lot of it. I was a knucklehead, you know?
Right.
But now it's like I'm a father of 3, you know what I'm saying? I have a girlfriend, I have a beautiful home. I got a career that I'm trying to flourish, you know what I'm saying? And solid people around me, and I think that I can't let myself down or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I have that negative energy or I start drifting back to how I'm gonna get the same results that I've gotten before. So like to me, I live by the revolving door syndrome. You can't do the same thing expecting different results. And that's why I see a lot of rappers there. They know they got drug charges, they got gun charges, they got all this stuff. Why are you riding around like that? Because they're trying to impress the next man next to them. They're not thinking about the bigger picture and the big Warner Brothers and the Atlantic with the big checks. They're not thinking about them. They're trying to impress the people inside that don't really care. Like they're trying to impress the wrong people.
Right.
So that's my angle. You know what I mean? If you real, you're gonna respect it.
Right.
My story speaks for itself. No one's in my lane. There's no competition because I want everybody else to win. There's nothing they can do. Like the only person that could sabotage me is myself.
Yourself, yeah.
Nobody can knock me. It's like I told my boy, like back to what she was saying about the comments. You know, like I don't even read comments.
Right.
I post it, but sometimes you happen to run by them, and I never see some. I rarely see some negative stuff. Like maybe YouTube, a little anonymous hater.
Oh, it's always
a little
it's all
YouTube anonymous hater. But I mean, other than that, man, it's love. You know what I mean? And
it's all YouTube. That's where somebody can call themselves Nostradamus and have a Donald Trump picture, and it could be a female too. But back to the no hate mail. Look, out of 151 interviews that I've done, I could say less than 10 have gotten no hate mail, and I'd have fingers left over. You were one of them.
Appreciate
like
that,
like none.
Well, I appreciate the people for that.
Yeah, and
Shit,
even
thank y'all. You know what I'm saying?
And even this one, still none. And it's because there's people that have commented and said about some guests, Tony, why you booked this guy? This guy's whack as fuck. That bitch can't sing. That bitch is stupid. Like just negativity. I never really feed into it. I just delete the shit. Okay. Every once in a while, it'll kind of like piss me off, and I was like, motherfucker, what do you do? But I'll just kind of leave it at that. But I didn't get none from you, and that's a good thing, man. So it's important for me to tell you that in front of the people that are watching.
It's starting to resonate, Tony.
Yes.
The real's starting to resonate, you know what I'm saying? I've sat there with people that got 35, 40 years in prison, sitting there. All race people. I talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? I talk to everybody in there. People are sitting there, and they got this hope, and they're never coming home, bro.
Right.
These people out here never been to jail, and they're out here acting like animals, bro, and they've never even been in that lifestyle. Like, a lot of these rappers are rapping about how a lot of people lived. You know what I'm saying? From what I heard, the rapper was the voice of the person that was doing it, a voice of his squad,
Right.
There was someone in that gang or in that group of people that were doing these things, and then there was the voice, which is the rapper, the front man. They weren't the guys getting the money. They weren't the guys doing it. So, I mean, we got Nipsey Hussle. We got all these independent artists that actually started from the seed and sprouted, you know what I mean? Whether they had to cut off a few stems to get to where they're at, but they stayed down, they stayed loyal. So I feel like that resonates, you know what I mean? It hits people different.
Right.
And that's where I'm going. That's my angle, you know what I mean? I don't want to be, your word is one thing you can't take, your word is something you can't take back. So being impeccable in my word is something that I focus on. My family, we stand on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're wrong, you got to admit that shit. And if you don't admit it, then you're lying to yourself, and I just can't be around you. You know what I'm saying? I got to push you back that way, because you have to embrace your negative and the positive, because everything plays a role in your life. Everything's going to bring that. I'm saying I could have came out of jail, boom, and hit the streets with all type of shit. I had it planned, I did 3 years, it's not the longest time, but it's enough for you to think. It sits you on your ass and it makes you think. So in my head, it was like, I want to come back and do this. But then halfway through my term, damn, my daughter's growing.
Yeah.
She was born while I was in prison. I started thinking differently. And because, while I was getting closer to my release date, some of these people don't have release dates. So in my head, it was like, damn, like you kind of got to keep that shit to yourself sometimes almost. But I don't know. I just think if you move at that frequency,
right,
you're not going to get no hate mail. You're not going to get bad feedback. You're going to get people that gravitate towards you.
Right.
Damn, I feel like that too, big dog. I want to fuck with you. So many people hit me up. I don't even know. I can't even tell you how many these past 2 years. Like, and I've been doing music for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I just had to really buckle down to where if I wanted to play ball, I got to get my cleats on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everybody's at the ball field trying to kick it and throw a ball around. You know what I mean? But when it's time to play, I was the kid that got suited up. All right, it's game time. It's time to play. And I got to keep using that and get back on the field and swing for the fences. You feel me?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
After we did that interview, for the people that didn't see it, who didn't think I cut you out, they were hitting me up and they were like, hey, Tom, I'm going to do a song with them. And I just like, hey, dude, just DM him, I mean, I'll forward you either his page or on the description of the video. It's there. You could just click on it. It'll take you to his page. Yeah. But I had maybe about 5 guys that told me that they want to do songs with you. But I don't know if I shouldn't have spoke for you, but here's what I said. Look, bro, a lot of these dudes don't rap for free, bro. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't rap for free.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point in my career, but I mean, if we vibing out, and you got something to bring to the table, I got a hard grind to bring to the table, and I definitely got some lyricism, and I got a great mind. I might not be the mass production, I might not know all these things, but I bring something to the table. Now, if I find another individual who brings that same energy to the table, that matches my energy, then we don't need to be talking about no money. We need to be talking about this music we're about to make. And then we'll get from there, we go to the next level. I feel that's how it's supposed to work. But at the end of the day, everybody does need to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's on the back end, whether it's on the front end, whether they're little distro kid splits, however it works, you know, because if you got two people pushing the ball, it's gonna go farther. If you're by yourself, you can do as best as you can to get that ball, but the momentum of two people, you know, if you do something and you got a guy that you did a feature with and he's just happy that he got the feature and doesn't do nothing with it, just leaves it there and posts it on his Instagram and expects to blow up, you know what I mean? Because I've been there.
A lot of guys see it like that.
Yeah, I've been there. Shit, I'm about to post this song. Everyone it's gonna go crazy. I will get some love. I'll get some reposts, but at the end of the week, 322 plays. Like, damn, I ain't doing what I thought I was doing, and I had to learn that. I had to see it for myself to believe it. I have a hard time someone telling me something. I got to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I was always told growing up, you know, believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. You know what I mean? Because there's some magicians out here. You know, motherfucking, and I don't play that shit. You know what I mean? I put my foot down, bro. I don't play that shit.
You know what? You just said something right now. You said that you used to be like that. You would post it up. Hey, I'm gonna get love. But at the end of the week, you got like 300 and something. You know, let's just say you got 1,000 views. Let's just say. I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of artists do wrong. They think just by posting it up, like it's just gonna go through the roof. Yeah. It doesn't happen like that. You've been putting in work for a long, long time. Now, one thing that I differ from my generation to this generation, not that I think we're better at all. I just thought we were different, meaning that we did a lot of road work. Today, it's all about people. We just got to post it.
Yeah.
Back then, we had to travel to Frisco, to Oakland, to Texas, to Colorado.
But those methods, and for all the artists that are out there listening, I still utilize those methods to this day.
Yes.
I do footwork. When I'm inside of a McDonald's or I'm inside of a Denny's or I'm inside of the Ruth Chris, wherever we're at eating, and I see people that might be interested in what I got going, I go over there and tell them, hey, big dog, you look like you fuck with the hip hop music. I'm good at going. I'm out of Carson, California, man. Tap in. If you ain't fucking with my shit, unfollow me. If you feel my shit's trash, unfollow me. It's easy as that. Right. 9 times out of 10, I got a follower. You know what I mean? And whoever, and I always know somebody that knows somebody knows. You know, when you go to follow somebody, hey, how do you know this guy? It never fails me, bro. You know,
right.
But that's just years of networking. You know,
who right now would you say on the street is like, in your opinion, like hot, like they're dope, but they're possibly not getting that light? Anybody out, any independent artist that you may know that like I know that this dude is fucking dope, but for some reason, you know.
I think it's my homegirl, Ida.
Okay.
Yep, Ida Breaks. I feel like she's one of the hardest females out here. She can do it all. She can rap, sing, you know what I'm saying, to be honest. You know what I mean? She has a great following as it is, but I'm gonna have to say Ida.
Okay, and why do you think, if you just had to, I guess, why you think she hasn't gotten that shine yet?
Because we're independent artists trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? We're trying to figure out our method. You know what I'm saying? We're learning. We're not taking no for an answer. We're in general, you know, those type of people, to me, that's the longevity. I got a gang of artists that are around me, and they're probably upset that I don't mention names, but you guys already know what time it is. You got to work for it. You know what I mean? I knew what time it was. I learned how to take the constructive criticism and not work with my emotions. So there's a lot of independent artists out here, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot that aren't getting their shine. There's a lot. But I'm not gonna sit here and name them all, you know what I mean? We gotta keep fighting for the goal. You know what I'm saying? Right. I can sit here and say myself. Because I know me, I know my mind, I know what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? I know damn well that I'm going to, mark my words, I am going to win a Grammy one of these days. I'm gonna walk across that stage. I'm gonna have my kids in the crowd. My mother's gonna be crying, and I'm gonna feel it. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. But it's just a matter of time and dedication. So if I get mad that my last single only got 1,000 views on YouTube, when comparatively my other ones got 13, 16,000, whatever, then I gotta give up. It's over. Hell no, I love that song. That's a dope ass video. I'm so happy. I'm glad I got to bring those individuals together. I made great connections. I made great relationships. And that's something that I'm gonna take along with me for the rest of my career. This is a longevity game. We're not playing big stakes, high stakes, all in. That don't happen like this in this game. You go all in, you're gonna lose every time. You know what I'm saying? You have to maneuver smoothly. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it right. And that's why I stand by, you know?
Well, I'm glad that you believe in yourself, man, because you know what? Here's one thing I told my son one time. I said, no boxer trains for a fight knowing he's going to lose.
Hell so, no, we playing to win.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the mentality I like to, if you will, encourage people with. You know what I'm saying? That you're going to win. Yeah, but some people say I'm whack. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, plain and simple.
People told me whack all the time. You could ask all my homies. I used to freestyle every day. We'd be at a party, everyone's having a good time. Here comes Gunner freestyling over the beat in the club. We're at a party, and I'm freestyling over the speaker, over the DJ. I'm stretching my voice, bro. I'm out here for no reason. That's because I would get drunk, I'll get in my little vibe, and I like to freestyle.
Right.
I found a passion in that shit. You know, I found a passion into my little freestyling, so it became what it became. But now people that 15 years ago were like, shut up, are like, I'm so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Because you believed in you. We didn't believe in you. Right. We thought you were trash. You know? But it makes me feel so much better when someone can say, hey, look, I didn't believe in you. Hey, dog, but you changed my whole mind.
Right.
We didn't think, you know what? I knew you were dope, but you kind of lost my train of thought, you know, my focus. Hey, but I gained it back, bro. You got me back, you know? You got me back, and that makes me feel more better than anything, bro. Right. It's just shit. Doing things that you couldn't do is my favorite hobby. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people give up, and that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. You know. Let me ask you something. I don't think I've ever asked a rapper this. Have you ever released a song that you regretted?
Only time I released a song I regretted because it was a YouTube beat and I monetized it. And I said, fuck it. They do me a cease and desist. It's all good. I ain't tripping. That's the only time. Other than that,
and did they hit you?
No.
For reals?
No, that's like my most Shazam song. It's like my most, not my most streamed, but it's definitely my most Shazam song. And shit, who knows, man? It could be someone else's song I'm Shazamming. I did it first. Who knows? Shit, I don't know. But that's the only time. That's it. Like, other than that, I don't have no regrets, bro. Nah, I've released some shit, and the homies be like, bro, like you could have done 2 verses, you could have done this, you didn't have to do a feature, you could have, and I guess it gets me thinking like, damn, maybe they're right, maybe they're right, and I might start doubting it, but at the end of the day, it's out there. Right. You got to grow from it. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't put nothing out and then took it down. I've seen artists do that. Like, yes. even if it's trash mixing and mastering, and I have it out there, it stays out there because they're gonna hear the progression through the music. Damn, he went from this to this to this, and damn, now he sounds like he's up here. He's on the radio now. My song's playing on the radio. Right. They're right there matching with all the vibes. You know, the same frequencies. But that's trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to get to that point. You got to.
I think the only regret that I ever had of anything that I've done since I've been back since like 2017 was that I started promoting coming soon of my documentary while I was still filming, and I should have never have done that. I should have never have done that.
You got overhyped.
Exactly.
And you wanted to let people know that it was coming because that you felt it. Yes. But it's so hard.
It is.
To keep that feeling inside when you just want to tell everybody, like,
right.
It's like when you find the golden ticket. You want to tell everybody, I found it. You know what I'm saying? But you really got to just, all right, I found it. Yeah. And then when it's time to fucking show everybody I got the golden ticket, hey, everybody, boom.
Right.
Here's the golden ticket.
It took me a year to film and a year to edit. And by the time we hit 1 year of just filming, people were like, release it already, and didn't even know what the fuck, you know.
And you were still like, oh shit, what are we gonna do, you know?
Exactly. That's where I messed up. But so I had to keep releasing somewhat like teasers a little bit. But when it came out, it was very successful. But COVID hit. We were supposed to enter it in film festivals.
Yeah,
COVID, yeah. So
it kind of get a little setback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel it.
But earlier you were talking about spitting bars. We're gonna go ahead and take a 10-minute break, and when you come back, we're gonna spit a couple of bars.
Hey, we're gonna do it.
Hell yeah! So if you guys want to hear him spit, make sure you guys go get something to drink, get some popcorn, whatever. But make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Gutta Gone is in the motherfucking building. We'll be back 10 minutes. Don't fuck around. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. radio. Call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch.
RC and Tony A chilling at the Roadium with my homeboy Steve. Be on the lookout for our new 12-inch. The shit is dope. Yo, I like to say what's up to my homeboy Dre, my homeboy Prince of Jazz, and the girls with the big ol' ass. So Trip, I'm about to bust one more time to let y'all niggas know just what's on my mind.
In the morning, police at my door. Fresh to be the squeak across my bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, but happy cause free. And the street to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least a grand.
Yo, her, take it from the top.
Get that shit, new chop. Power move on.
If you mess with me.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 151. And we're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with Gutta from the Harbor area, Carson.
Hey, man, what's the deal?
You know what? During the break, you were actually sharing a little story about you being in juvenile hall and how somebody pretty much laid out your future, if I'm correct.
So, yeah, basically, I was in a placement home, and a dude came to speak, and he basically just let us know, like, he started in juvenile hall, the camps, the placements, the county jail, the prison, you know, he kind of like let us know that if this is the life that you want, these are the places that you're going to go. What I was saying was, I remember sitting in prison looking back like, damn, I did everything he said I was going to do. So that's, you know what I mean? It kind of, you got to think about that. You know, it resonates deep. You know what I'm saying?
So he was pretty much saying that if you continue in this path, this is what's going to happen. And everything he said that was going to happen.
Man, on the point, every single thing.
You know what, man? I had a guy that came here not too long ago, and he had did I believe 7 years in prison. And he's not one of these guys that brags about it. You know, like a lot of guys rap about, you know, being on the yard or whatever, you know. Yeah. And he said it, and I was so glad that he said it. He said, but you know what? I did 7 years. Yeah, you know what? I did a lot of hard time. I got jumped. This and this and this happened. He said, but what a waste of a life.
Oh, man, definitely. You watch days go by, holidays, Christmases.
Yeah.
You sit there, you think, you know what I mean? Like everybody you think about, you learn how to think about thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody just has a different journey, you know what I mean? Some people don't care. Right. Some people keep going back. I got homies that got 5, 6, 7 terms. They get out, they're out for 3 months. Hey, where's the homie at? Boom, he just got 2.5. All right, we'll see him in a couple years. You know?
Right. Well, I'm glad that he said that, and I'm glad you said that because, see, most people get out and they brag about that life, and to me, that's a negative message to this next generation. Yeah. Like if it's cool or something, you know.
With me, I definitely emphasize it because I want you guys to feel what I've been through and where the struggle comes from. You know what I mean? It doesn't come like looks could be deceiving. You know what I mean? I have a rough story. I had a rough upbringing. I had a rough understanding of life at a certain point, but I figured it out. You know what I mean? I got my little chemistry together and figured out my purpose, you know what I mean, and what it took me to get here. So I would be an idiot to preach something that I don't believe in. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a little homie out there right now acting like a fucking idiot. I haven't seen some shit like this since 2008, but all I can do is pray for him. I put some positive shit in his head, and you know, you define your destiny, bro. You know what I mean? This is what's gonna happen when you live in that life. You better be prepared for it.
Right.
There's no going back in this game. You know, and that's what people say, back to your word has to be impeccable. What you say doesn't go away. Now the problem is they're doing the typing, they're doing the we call it the net banging. So it's already been said, everyone's seen that it's said, oh, it has to go down now, because I was that type of guy. Hey, I'm gonna fight so-and-so. I had to fight him when I seen him, or I was a bitch.
Right.
I was a bitch if I didn't beat him up. So every time I seen him, he could have been with his mom's kid. Fuck, I gotta beat him up. And I would do it. But at the end of the day, I could have got, one of those dudes could have had a gun. Hey, we're not doing that right now. Boom, blew my brains out. Shit, I guess God had a little hand on my shoulder or something, you know? But I also wasn't out there trying to blow people's brains out either, you know? So, you know, like they say, you live by the gun, you're gonna die by it. You know, live by the gun, you're gonna die by it.
No, that is very, very fucking true, bro. But I come from the era where dudes just ran up on you. I think one of the most scandalous things that ever happened to me, I was grocery shopping with my mom, and 5 dudes ran up on me while I'm pushing my mom's cart. You know?
It happens.
Yeah, dude. And then I told this, because the other guys that didn't know, but I guess he couldn't confront me by himself. So I convinced all his buddies that this was not a man. I said that he had to go get all you guys to confront me in front of my mother. I said, so encourage him to go outside with me by himself. And he wouldn't, bro.
Yes, that happens a lot. People, I guess I was always known for, we're crazy in a crowd. We're definitely crazy with numbers. But when I was by myself, I think I was crazier. Just because of, it could have been fear. Right. It could have been fear inside. You know what I'm saying? But I never let that, I didn't let that affect me. I just had to go out there and boom, and some people they're straight away, and some people say, fuck this fool, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you live and you learn,
I had a couple of rappers that sat right there where you're at, and they've asked me, Tony, you've been around a long time, you know a lot of people in this industry, how come you don't help me out? A lot of them have said that, and you know what? They very, very talented, very talented, where I could invest money and I could invest my time and effort into them. But here's why I didn't. They're a liability. These guys were still active on the streets, gang banging, getting their hood tatted all over their face. I don't have nothing against tattoos, but here's my thing. You want to make this, you want to make a living off of rap, but yeah, you're still active on the street. I don't know if you're going to get locked up next week. I don't know if you're going to get killed, tomorrow.
Yeah. And people will take that. Some people will take that gamble when the cloud is high enough.
Right.
That's what these labels are doing. But I mean, you got over 15 dead rappers this past year that for sure record labels are still collecting off of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you just got to think about, and it all goes back to what they promote. You know what I mean? They promote gang violence, drug violence, or gang bang, and they promote this music in the industry for over the past 20 years.
Right.
So at the same time, you got to realize that, or 30 years, excuse me. You know what I mean? They've been doing this. So for you to be around that long and to not think that that's a marketable move is genius, because you actually seen the outcome and you got to see what actually happened. So you seen it at your firsthand experience. So it's not a good thing to invest time into somebody who doesn't even think correctly. You know what I mean? Someone could have a talent, like a guy that be at the park basketball, they got a crazy 3-pointer. But he never played a game. He can't listen to nobody. He can't listen to a coach. He can't be coached.
Right.
Some people know everything. You know what I'm saying? So you can't help people that know everything. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, you just tend to leave those people alone.
Yeah, you got to just distance yourself,
I was watching that, and I encourage people to watch it, Hip Hop Uncovered. I don't know if you saw it.
Definitely watched it.
Did you see when they interviewed Dre, and Dr. Dre said that when he was at death row, I believe 26 people got killed, or 26 people died?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm like...
Sounds like COVID-19, 2020, huh?
Yeah.
Shit, people were dying all year long.
Hell yeah, man. You know what? As a matter of fact, the last time I saw you, you were filming a video at Fashion Town.
Yes, sir.
And I want to give Jen a shout out, because Jen is for the culture.
Man, I fucking love Jen, bro. That's like family right there.
That's right. That's right.
He definitely for the people.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fashion Town, CALI, on Carson and Western, the city of Torrance, man. Pull up. He got great deals. Tell him Gutta gone and Tony sent you. He definitely gonna take care of you.
Hell yeah.
Most definitely.
He sells the uniform out there, man.
Yeah,
Ben
man.
Davis, Dickies, and white t-shirts, homie. That's all we
sir.
need. So pretty soon, I want to encourage him to start bringing in some shoes in there, man. He's got to get some Chucks and some Cortez in there. So, Jen, if you're hearing, you got to hook us up on me. But anyways, what video were you...
So I actually did a paid feature.
Okay.
For my boys, KD Spencer and Jomar Javin. These dudes are dope, bro. They have their own sound. They got their own style. The song's called Something About LA. It's a real West Coast vibe, a little bit out of my pocket, Right. But I can rap to anything. You know what I'm saying? So we had got together maybe like 3 months ago. We did the business, great business, turnaround, 2-day turnaround, you know what I mean? They had their verse back, and they got it mixed and mastered. They got it ready. They hit me up. They were like, look, bro, for the video, I want you to set up your own scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to set up your own scene. And Jen always hits me up, hey, when we gonna do a video here? When we gonna do a video here? But in my head, the right plot hasn't happened yet.
Right.
In my little crap, it hasn't happened. The stars haven't aligned yet. So when I was actually there the weekend before, and I was there, and we were gonna do it in Pedro by the bridge, and I thought about it. I'm like, hey, Jen, can I bring some lowriders and who'll bang them right here in front of the store and do a little scene? He's like, yep, no problem. So then from there, just manifested what it came to be. That was just my scene for the video, and I had everybody out there. So, and that goes to show artists that pay for my features. A lot comes along with me. It's not just a rapper and an attitude. You get a personal, you get a relationship. If you ain't fugazi, if you ain't a weirdo, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if you pay me $1,000. If you're weird, stay away from me. You know what I mean? But that's what you get when you work with me. It comes along with my team. I got my team behind me.
Yeah.
Cameraman, you got behind the scene pictures. You know, Jim was giving out free hats to people. You know what I mean? Free shirts. You know, there's a lot of love comes with. Back to what you were saying, piggybacking on not getting no hate mail. I told Jen that day, I'm pretty sure you hook up a lot of people, but I don't know how many people actually hook you up.
Right.
I want to be known for the guy that hooked up people back.
Right.
They didn't just take the scratch on the back. No, I got you too. It's love, because that's how it's gonna generate wealth. That's how you're gonna get where you want to be. I'd rather have a great relationship than $100,000. People might say I'm crazy because I've been broke and I've been happy. I've been broke with nothing. I've been happy with nothing. So if you have that mentality, and I haven't had that much money to play with, so shit, who knows? There's probably some people out there that have touched that type of money, and I might just not have got there yet. But I think with this type of mentality, I will be prepared for it, you know?
Right.
At least have some type of backup plan.
Dude, I've been broke as fuck at times, bro.
Man.
Like when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, like I had rabbit ears. You know, you pull out your pockets and all you have is lint. Like, but I never ever like said like, whoa me. I always knew like I'm about to come up. I'm about to come up. I've never been one of those depressed dudes that drank his problems away or whatever. Like hell no, I was scheming. You know, and that's why I've been successful this whole time.
Yeah, man,
bro.
for sure. I'm a Scorpio, so when shit hits the fan, fuck everything. I gotta, you know, you just go. I'm like a whole new monster. I just go a whole different direction.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you hit a dead end. Some people just say fuck. I start sprinting the other way. You know what I mean? It's back towards where I like that's why I like that movie Maze Runner. If you guys seen the movie Maze Runner.
No,
you know
and
I mean?
I watch a lot of movies. I've never seen that one.
The whole point is they're trying to fight the time to get to these, to go do what they need to do in this time frame. There's a time frame that they're trying to meet. And if you don't meet this time frame, you might not come back. You might not make it back to where you got to be.
Huh.
So I'm saying, and then that, to me, I learned a lot with that. You know what I mean? You learn. You know, you got to take everything serious. You know, you got to respect things. You know what I'm saying? You got to respect the journey and the. You know what I'm talking about?
You know what's funny? I just started producing for this guy, Mr. D. Okay.
I've been seeing that.
Okay.
Bro
And
came off hard when he doing his little videos on Instagram. He was definitely an eye catcher because it's what we're used to growing up, but we haven't seen in a long time.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I played my son the song. I said, I'm gonna let you play it. I'm gonna play it for you, but I'm not gonna play it for nobody else. So tell me what you think. So he heard it. He goes like, it's cool, and I left it alone. Okay. But here's what he said. The guy's not sorry. It's just that it doesn't sound like anything out there.
That's the key point.
That was the thing. I said, look, mijo, I could see everybody walking this way and I walk that way. The total opposite direction. Kind of like pretty much what you were saying.
Back, I think Ice-T said that in the Hip Hop Uncovered.
Yeah.
He was the guy, got to the edge of the cliff, started seeing all of his homies fall off. He's trying to go against the crowd, telling people don't go that way. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like when he said that, I related heavy because people watching me do crazy shit growing up, and I'm sure a lot of my homies, people around me thought it was cool or that was the way to go.
Right.
And now I'm over here preaching what I believe in now. Some might call it a hypocrite. You know what I mean? So, you used to live like this, but now you're trying to tell me to live like this. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to, if I don't tell you, then the people that aren't telling you, they don't love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be told what you don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
So
hey, truth hurts, man.
Man, oh yeah, shit, fucked me up a few times.
What was that quote? And I hope I don't misquote it. It says, I would rather hurt you with the truth than comfort you with a lie.
Oh yeah, that's deep. Because I feel like, I don't know, me, I've dealt with self-demons, you know what I mean? I have a lot of demons on my back growing up. So to me, I don't even lie to myself. That's how fucking on point. Even if I catch myself, like, I might be believing this shit, but you can't do that. That shit's gonna come back. It's like being in prison. I wanna say this too. I wouldn't be able to be out here walking how I walk, moving how I move, talking how I talk if I wasn't no, like, how do you say, like, if I wasn't able to move that way inside there, I shouldn't be able to talk that way out here. A lot of these guys that I meet out here that I see from jail, you guys were tucked up in your bunk, eating your little soups, writing your little letters. I was around the dorm talking with everybody, networking, because my life was still going on. I just happened to be in confinement at the time.
Right.
That showed me a lot about people. Like I said one time, I posted, you know, the hardest rapper out here was asking for soups in the pen. You know what I'm saying? And it's true because a lot of people portray this image like, dog, you did 2 years, you came out, the whole 2 years you didn't do shit. You just sat there, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not, and I guess I don't glorify prison, bro. It just, it defines me, bro. Like the system, being locked up, being incarcerated, it molded me. It was the father that I didn't have after my dad died. You know what I'm saying? The system. It was the dad that, you know, like someone who's going to tell you what you don't want to hear and you got to deal with it.
Right.
Look, you're sentenced to this much time. You can't, what are you going to do? You're locked up. The judge already said you're sentenced to this time. My whole family on there crying, you know, you have to go. Some people get into that substation, start snitching. They don't even leave the substation, bro. I've been through processing 17, I'm fucking exaggerating. I've been through processing 7 to 10 times easily, because I didn't snitch. You have to go through processing. And they bring you in a little interrogation room. Hey, let me know about this. Man, get the fuck out of here.
And now they've gotten better. They're like, just tell us what we already know.
Yeah. I don't say shit, bro. I didn't like me, I'm an asshole. I'll talk, but say nothing. I'll talk and say nothing. You know? Shit, well, I just dropped this new video. You know, I started talking shit. Like, and they were like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's funny, bro? My brother, okay, I had to talk with him earlier. And he got interrogated one time, and he says, you know what they do? He says, they bring you food sometimes. Hey, you want a burger or you want a donut? When they're interrogating you. He goes, because a guy who's guilty is nervous, he won't eat. He said, it's the guy who doesn't have shit to do with it that will eat.
Fucking, I'm hungry.
Yeah. He goes, so they had a big ass fucking powdered donut. He goes, so I'm eating that motherfucker. He goes, by the time they let me go, I on purpose put powdered donut all up in my fucking face while I walked out. But that's true. Motherfucking ain't going, you know. But most dudes, bro, they get there and they, you know, believe me,
yeah, they crumble under pressure. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, back to the original point, if you enter into a lifestyle, be prepared for the repercussions of that lifestyle.
Yes.
You like the females, you like the money, you like the attention, well, then you better be used to the getting robbed and going to jail and being a target. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these dudes out here who got money now, the hustlers nowadays, the new age hustlers are the dudes that were not hustling when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you know, the late bloomers. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got 26-year-old dudes who break up with their girlfriend, relationship didn't work, I'm gonna be a drug dealer. All my homies did it. I could do it. Now you're out here an easy target at 30 years old, think you're the man, and boom, you get robbed 10, 15 times because it's not in you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, anybody can sell drugs. It's the easiest occupation ever.
And anybody can shoot.
Yeah, anybody. But it all boils down to what you want to stand for. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I don't have 30 years to live, bro. So, you know what? I'm living my best life now, brother.
I feel it, man. I feel it.
You know, there's people that don't mind doing the bullshit you were just talking about. You know, being a target, putting a gun out on somebody, not knowing that you could be facing 25 to life for that bullshit, man. I ain't got time for that shit.
No, hell no.
But anyways, listen, switching gears up a little bit. You were gonna spit some bars, man.
Man, you know I had to bring some bars to you, Tony. Man, last time I wasn't able to, bro. I had a lot on my mind. You feel me? I had the project dropping, a little stage fright one time. You know what I'm saying? I had to come back and redeem myself.
Hell yeah! Whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna do a little acapella. So check me out. They saying everything I said. Hype man. Can't wait for me to lose it like a diet plan. Cause every verse the bomb as the hundreds brand. That's how I turn all my haters into Gutta fans. I fuck around and go Simba if they try to scar me. I'm the #1 contender, you ain't trying to spar me. They seen the hunger in my eyes and they try to starve me. 3 dubs in a row, like when you search Safari. Sheesh. I was really in the streets, did 3, came home, started fucking up the beat, same fit, 7 days, ain't a single verse week. Felony conviction, you can feel it when I speak. Been swinging for the fence since I was hitting off the tee. Then wins be hitting different when you get the MVP. And it's all fun and games until you start to take the lead. I used to see it in your eyes, but now I know what envy means. They've been studying my moves, chess game. I hate to see them lose, but this is checkmate. Fuck them all. And I mean that in a nice way. This Gutta gone. The new voice of the HA. I've been 100 like 520s, it's Mayday. Did you get it? 520s? Mayday? Like Rat Pack Frankie, I did it my way. How you expect to beat the game if you don't play? Warrior. Gonna be a mission back to the Coney. I'm glorious. Me, myself, and my lonely. Stay 10 toes down to the ground with my head up. Made a promise last fall that I'm never gonna let up. Until I'm heard, Carson the New Jersey. Put the team on my back when it caught me in New Jersey. You rappers talking about this, that, and the third. I just tuck my shoulder when anyone trying to curve. It's Gutta. You feel me?
All right, everybody, let's give them a hand clap, you guys.
Yeah, man, yeah. Appreciate it. It's a little something, man, a little something. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Now let me ask you, 2021, things are starting to open back up because COVID cock blocked everything. Okay, what can we expect from Gutta going forward?
Shit, well, Gutta is going to be live in Las Vegas, July 10th at the Sahara Event Center. I will be performing live at the Cannabis Awards. It's Kush Stock and the Cannabis Awards put together. It's the second annual. I got booked by my boy from 80K. Shout out to Eric. He seen what I was doing. He believed in me. He shot the bag over my way. And now we bringing the people out. We bringing the HA to Vegas, man, like the Raiders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, since you don't know, I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
What is the Kush Awards?
So basically, bro, people take pride in their marijuana, bro, just like you take pride in this podcast. I take pride in my music. People take pride in their businesses. This is their life. They're cultivators. They do this. So they're coming and they're basically showcasing what they do all year long. And it's a community. It's a community of people. We were doing something called Harbor Dreams a few years back. It was basically what they're doing, but we were doing it in the harbor. We're doing it in San Pedro. Things went a little shifty, location started getting up. We're kind of getting too popular. We're doing a little bit too much, getting headliners and these small venues. We kind of had to kind of fall back a second. But at the same time, I understand and I respected the value of the cannabis community. It's deep. You know what I mean? I just smoke bud. I can't even think of the word right now, but I'm not like I don't get so fascinated, get so deep into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's gonna be dope, bro. They got some dope lineup. They got some dope artists lined up. I think they're working on a headlining act. I'm not too sure who they're getting, but I will be going on at midnight. I do have some tickets. I'm gonna be doing a giveaway soon. So if you want to go follow my Instagram at Guttagon, GUTTAGONE. The first 10 people to hit my DM right now, I got free tickets for you. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Well, I know your Instagram has been up on the screen, so people can go follow you and people can set you up.
Tony, man. I'm just trying to bring the love to the harbor. Like I said, man, I am the new voice of the HA.
Oh, let's do it.
It is.
Let's do it. Now let me ask you this: are you going to be dropping single EP? Like what can people expect, bro?
Don't expect nothing. Just wait for it to come. Just know we're cooking. It's coming. My promotion, Tony, is no promotion.
Okay.
When you go throw a little clip out there, everyone sees it. They feel like they already heard the song.
Okay.
When I come out, bro, I just drop that shit.
All right.
So when they see it for the first time, they get to view it. Just know I got a lot of music coming. This show in Vegas is gonna be a big movie. I'm doing a video shoot out there. I got a lot planned out for the next 3 months. But just stay tuned, follow the IG, and just know Gutta on his way. Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you open to work with other artists if they hit you on the DM? Like maybe they might want a feature or something.
Definitely.
What do you require? Like, now let me ask you. Say it's a guy that's been rapping for like 6 months and he wants a feature. Would you do it with him?
If his mind state's correct, and I could have an actual conversation with this individual, and he's not just sitting there quiet looking at me like a weirdo,
right.
And I see the hunger in him, and I ask questions. I ask a lot of questions. Like, who you motivated by? What got you where you're at? And when I find that person, I don't give a fuck if you've been rapping for a day and a half. If your heart's in it, then I want to be somebody that you can look back like, damn, making that move and buying that feature off Gutta gave me some confidence that other artists didn't do. Some people take the money, fuck that fool. They treat him like a bet, easy money. I don't do that, bro. I don't take advantage of people.
Oh, I know a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah. Before we leave, man, I just dropped my album in October, 234th in Maine. If you haven't listened to it already, it is in my bio on my Instagram, or you could just look it up on Apple Music, Spotify. But I want to give Tony a special signed copy on the record.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna sell it too.
That's what I want. That's what it's here for. Shit, I would love to find out that someone sold my first CD, bro. That shit would make me happy. Shit, maybe after the Grammy, huh?
Hell yeah.
Appreciate you, Tony, man.
Thank you.
Roadium Radio. Appreciate you for having us. Stay tuned for the next guest, because I'm excited about it. It's Gutta Ass Gone, man. I'm out this bitch.
Okay, really quick, brother. Just in case, any shout outs? Anybody else you want to shout out?
Yeah, man, I want to shout out to my boy Ricky Hustle. He out here doing it. Anybody needs video work, anybody needs behind the scenes, weddings, anything you need, tap in with my boy Ricky Hustle. You can find him in a lot of my posts. I always post about him. I got my boy Jay Nino out here moving. He's dealing with a lot of artists. He's one half of Grimy Records. I appreciate everything you do for me, bro. It's all love. Shout out to my homegirl Ida. She's the hottest artist coming out of LA. She got some crazy shit on the way. Stay tuned for that. Shout out to my DJ Flesh. Shout out to my boy Fresh Coast Carson, my boy Yoshi, all the team, DJ Gabe C, DJ Head, Carson, I got us. I appreciate the harbor area, all the love, all the support, all the merch sales. without you guys, I wouldn't be here today. So let's just keep this ball rolling, and eventually we're gonna be where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? We going for the shit, Tony.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Last question, bro. Last question. Were you a DMX fan?
Man, I definitely was, bro. You guys would ever check my song out with my boy Predominance? It's called Appetite. I definitely have a heavy DMX influence in that hook, bro. I have that voice, so I know how to tap into that pocket. So I definitely was a big DMX fan, like definitely.
Yeah.
So I've been slapping X all week. You know what I mean? Just before I heard what was going on with him,
Right.
and it's sad to say, to be honest, like, you know, and you never really give someone their flowers until they're about to die,
Right.
or they died, or they got in an accident. And I feel like lately I've been really trying to tap in and like you said, give people their flowers while they're here. You know what I'm saying? And he definitely made a big impact.
Right.
Just that Kush, or was it the performance that he had? I can't think of the name of the performance.
I know what you're talking about.
But just that right there motivates me, bro.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, DMX, man. Rest in peace to all the artists that we lost. And I definitely was a DMX fan, man.
Rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace, Stomper. So once again, we're gonna go ahead and take a 10-minute commercial break, and we're gonna come right back. You know who just walked in, man?
Who's that?
Joanie Lopez.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, we're about to talk right now. So make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Gutta Gone is in the motherfucking building.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 10 minutes.
It's good.
You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch.
Tony A, chillin' at the Roadium with my homeboy Steve. Be on the lookout for our new 12-inch, the shit is dope. Yo, I like to say what's up to my homeboy Dre, my homeboy Prince of Jazz, and the girls with the big ol' ass. So Trip, I'm about to bust one more time to let y'all niggas know just what's on my mind.
In the morning, police at my door. Fresh to be this week across my bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, but happy cause free. And the street to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least a gram.
Ice Cube getting dumb at the Roadium with the funky drum, and you know my man Steve can get some. With a fool like Tony A when he plays stupid dope shit by WA. You wanna spray? Dumb motherfuckers, no doubt. And sucker DJ, get the fuck out. Tony A.
What did you say your name was? What did you say your name?
Tony A.
I have won 1 million battles.
Lights, cameras, action, sound. Give me that mic, I'm about to go down. Thinking of a master plan.
This story's funny. I met this girl and she had money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio, episode 151. And my next special guest, I just want to say that I'm very, very happy that she's here. Number one, because she's going to educate us. She's going to talk about the Chicano culture, the Chicano movement. And not only do I believe in supporting our people, but also educating our people. And number two, because she brought me some food. And we're going to talk about that too, because after I'm going to eat, okay, and probably get a drink or two. But without further ado, please allow me to introduce my very special guest of the night, all the way from San Diego, California, Joanie Lopez.
Hi, thank you for having me, Tony.
That was quite an introduction, huh?
It was.
You know, it's funny. One time somebody introduced me and he said, the grand, incredible, imperial wizard. They introduced me to speak. And I said, damn, that was such a great introduction. I can't even wait to hear what I have to say.
Right.
You know, because it was so good. But you know what? How was your drive coming over here?
We hit traffic in around Carlsbad, Oceanside. Mm-hmm. It was around rush hour time. So, you know, expected.
Right, as expected.
But it was pretty smooth. We were bumping. I was actually bumping some old school tracks and getting in the mood, you know.
Okay. Now, you're originally from San Diego?
I was born and raised in Logan Heights. I guess now, and I'll talk a little bit about that. A lot of people know it as Barrio Logan.
Okay.
But yeah, born and raised there.
Okay.
Life. I just moved blocks pretty much.
Right, and I heard you mention that you live blocks away from Chicano Park?
Yes.
Really? Wow. Now, you know what? I think this was, man, I want to say maybe, I don't know how many years ago it was, but maybe you may remember. Did a car fall off the freeway and hit some people? How long ago was that?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody here, maybe like 3 years ago,
Okay.
4 years ago, I'm not mistaken, but I mean, I don't have the date exact, but yeah, a truck fell, and I think they were having like a bike event, and it killed 4 people, and they were not from San Diego. Till this day, there's an altar there for them with candles, and people come, and you know, there's a little story about them, and
wow.
so, yeah.
Now, your parents, your family, are they originally from San Diego or son de Mexico?
No, they're from Michoacan.
Okay.
My mom, it's an interesting story, you know, I want to share this because maybe some people might relate to. So my mom, she's from Michoacan, Pastor Ortiz, Michoacan, is very close to Guanajuato. She said it's like 15 minutes walking distance from Guanajuato. I've never been, I'm scared of flying, but hopefully soon, right? But her mom is from Texas, and she was born 1918. And during the Great Depression, 1930, they went to Michoacan. I'm assuming maybe family members were from there. But my great-grandpa, he was ejidatario, I think that's what they call it. So they used to distribute land.
Okay.
So he got a lot of land. And it was after, you know, the Mexican Revolution, right? It ended in 1920-ish or so. And so they got a lot of land distributed to was the people from the pueblo. And my grandma, she was 14 when she married my grandpa, who was around 22 years old.
Okay.
And they had 12 kids. And
12 kids?
Yes. And out of those, only 10 survived. My mom is one of them. And she only had 2. But so that's my mom. And my dad, he's also from the same pueblo, Michoacan. They grew up together. Like, they went to school together. Well, kind of. My mom went up to 6th grade. Back then, women were not allowed to go further into education. She's closer to 70. And my dad only went up to the 3rd grade. But his mom is from Manteca, California. So both of my abuelitas, they're U.S. citizen. But again, my grandma was born 1930 here in Manteca, California. And again, Great Depression, they go to Michoacan. That's where her mom's side of the family is from. Her dad was from Sonora. And because of Ancestry.com, I found out that my great-grandpa, he worked in the railroads. And he came over in 1910. And supposedly he was bilingual, according to Ancestry. And they get all the information from the census, you know, of back then. Everything was written before social media. I mean, before computers and all that, right? But, and so they met, or I mean, they knew each other, but my mom came over here in the late 80s. And I'm from 89, so so yeah, so that's kind of where my background, and it's interesting because sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but my grandma, my mom's mom, because she was a U.S. citizen, they told her, you know, you want to make your children residents,
yes,
or even granting citizenship of the U.S., and she said no because she was afraid that they were going to be drafted for war.
Yeah.
So she opted to, you know, not to. Eventually, my tios, my mom, everybody became, you know, legal, I guess you can say. But the irony, right? And it's interesting because it's just that border is like, it shouldn't be there.
Right. Okay. Now, how trustworthy, and I don't know if you can answer this, is the Ancestry? Because I have one that somebody gave to me, and I just, like, I don't know if I believe in it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
You're talking about the DNA?
Yes.
I haven't done the DNA.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I don't trust my DNA being out there in the government. They can track down if, let's say, a long lost relative of yours might have committed a crime. I think they can track somehow. They can track each other down.
Right.
However, I do know my last names, at least like 2 or 3 of them. So I'm like the historian in my family.
Awesome.
So I know dates and like my grandparents and my grandma, like she didn't even know she was from the U.S. She didn't know she was a U.S. citizen because she didn't know how to read or write. And it wasn't until she got married to to my grandpa that my dad's mom, that he was like, you're from California. Manteca is in California. So what I've done is any information that you have, let's say you know your last name from your parents and their grandparents, perhaps, you can put your name, put their names, your parents' names, and then their information. And since they're deceased, there's already something linked to them. So, for example, recently I found one of my second cousins. We share the same great grandmother. So his grandpa was my mom's tío or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's actually from over here, from LA. So shout out to him. I haven't met him yet, but through Ancestry, I saw a picture. I'm like, this old man, my Uncle Felix, looks exactly like my tío Jesus, who was a mariachi in San Diego, pretty well known. I'm gonna look him up. And then I did the research and I asked my mom, was your cousin named Daniel? She was like, yeah. And so brother Abel. And I'm like, oh, this is our relative. So I found a relative and he didn't know that his grandpa had sisters, which is my grandma. And again, he actually was drafted for World War II. He didn't serve, but his son served in Vietnam War. So they came to LA, and then the other part stayed in San Diego. Others remained in Michoacan. So again, the disconnect. But through Ancestry, I have found information. You can see graveyards of your relatives. If you know, what else? If they've done a DNA test, I think they also can link you up. So it's pretty interesting. And I found some stuff from Mexico as well, not just the U.S. Like documents. For that, you do have to pay like $40 instead of like the 20 or whatever. But it's pretty neat stuff, and I geek out in that. And every year I log in to kind of see if there's any new information. And I'm able to find records, birth certificates, even baptism. Like my grandma, my dad's mom, she was baptized in what's that place? Closer to Sacramento.
Okay.
And I'm like, why all the way up there? And I'm like, perhaps that was probably the closest Catholic Spanish-speaking church at the time, 1930s.
Yeah. Okay, so you were talking about Ancestry as far as online. Okay, I was talking about the DNA
test.
I don't feel comfortable with that.
No, and you know, a lot of people do it because they want to, and I'll get to that with like reclaiming your roots. A lot of us, especially Chicanos, we don't know where we come from. A lot of us say we're Aztecs, right? My family is from Michoacán and Sonora. In Michoacán, there's no Aztecs. There's Purépecha. Some people say that Tarascans. That's not the correct term. Purépecha people. The Aztecs never conquered us. They actually hated us. You know, we were rivals. My dad, Sonora, there's Yaqui. Around that area, you have Yoreme, you have Mayo. My boyfriend, he's from Mazatlan, so his family, you know, they have Mayo blood. So we're different tribes, right? Different indigenous people. So a lot of people are doing it to see where they come from, to see, you know, I mean, it's neat. I mean, I would want to know if I'm more indigenous or what type, or maybe I have something else. Like also in Mexico, there's a lot of African root, you know, that a lot of people neglect.
Yeah.
Depending where you're from. If you're from the northern states, most likely you might have some African or Chinese in your family because, I guess now's the time to talk about that too. But do you know who abolished slavery, the U.S. or Mexico first, in your opinion? Just take a wild guess.
I'll say Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico. Do you know why?
No.
The second president was black, Vicente Guerrero.
You know what? I had heard of that. Yes, I have heard that. So, but please elaborate because I'm being educated as well as everybody else watching.
Hopefully my professors give me an A, right? But no. So what happened is because in Mexico, slavery was abolished, a lot of runaway slaves would go into Mexico and well, they would create their family there. So in a lot of the northern states, you see the features, right? Same thing like in the southern you go, like in Veracruz, that was where the port for slavery, the ships would come in, and I'm talking about like the 1500s and so forth, right? So then there's that. I mean, the song La Bamba, you know, who made it famous?
Oh, Richard Valens.
Who's a Chicano. Right. And the song actually traces back to more than 300 years. And the beat, I mean, the drums, you can hear everything. It was from the Congos, from, you know, it was African. It has African roots that, you know, in Mexico, right? But and even the film La Bamba, it was a Chicano who screen wrote the film La Bamba, Luis Valdez, from Teatro Campesino. Where are your parents from? I'm curious.
Torreón, Coahuila.
So yeah, I kind of already knew, but I just wanted you to say that. You know, there's a lot of Chinese there.
Yes.
So I sometimes want my tío or my mom to do the DNA test so that I can kind of know, or maybe my brother, but I wouldn't do it. But, you know, you never know. You might have some mixed ancestry there, you know, that you're pretty tall. So you know, you might.
You know, my dad, I'll show you a picture of him during the break, but all my friends growing up thought that my dad was a white guy because he had blue eyes, like sky blue eyes. And matter of fact, one of my granddaughters has his exact eyes, okay? Tall, he was like 6'2", 6'3", very, very white, brownish hair, you know, dark brownish hair. But everybody always thought he was a white guy, you know. So when we used to go to TJ, him on purpose used to throw on those sheriff glasses with the mirrors on the outside. Yeah. And everybody thought he was a white guy, like a gabacho. And they used to always buy him tacos de vapor, caldo de caguama, lo que sea, you know. But like out of respect, and he used to lie. He goes, antes era un luchador, you know, because he was always kind of like a big husky dude. So everybody used to believe his ass, like, you know. But my dad had such a great sense of humor. He was like a Jim Carrey. So that's what my dad was. Now my mom was very, very dark. Honestly, probably darker than a lot of my black friends, you know, and with woolly hair. Now, her mom, when we used to go visit her in Juarez, she had a cotton field, okay? And she was like maybe 4'10", 4'9".
Sure.
And she's very, very dark, but looks very, very native, you know. So the one who would know all of that is my older brother. That's what you remind me of, because he knows dates. You know, he knows dates. He'll sit there and he'll talk to you like if he's Morgan Freeman in 1904.
Yes, that's probably me too. So. Yeah, well, my mom does that too. She knows all, you know, she had 12 brothers, or they're a total of 12. She knows everybody's birthday and like where they were born, like everything. I'm good if I write it down and I remember it. But yeah, like my mom, she's like 5'2". Well, she's probably 5 now because she's older. But my dad was like 6'1" or so, and my tío, my dad's brother, he always gets confused by Native Americans. They're like, "What tribe are you?" or "What band?" You know, and he's like, I'm descendant of Yaquis. I don't know much, but you know, the features are there. You know, the nose, the dark, like a red, like a color barro kind of like clay, like a dark red, brown. And there's a lot of internal racism within our Mexican culture, Mexican and Chicano culture. And
let's speak on that, please, because we see it today, you know, and I've always wondered why. Maybe that's a big question. Maybe it'll never be answered. You know, maybe you could shed a little bit of light on that. But before you answer that, you mentioned Chinese and black. I read in a book, because I do a lot of reading. In my room next door, I have about 1,000 books, because I do a lot of reading. Is it true that Arabs settled in Mexico? I had read in a book that Arabs had settled in Mexico for 500 years. How true is that?
So, I mean, I'm not too sure, but what I do know is that before the Spanish came to conquer Mexico and other parts of Latin America, they had already been conquering like the Moorish. So that's, you know, you're talking about, you know, the whole the peninsula, the Iberian Peninsula. So there's already mixing that happened there. So for example, one of my last names, Ayala, sounds, you know, like Hebrew, or like one of, you know, I've done research, and I think that's where it says like Hebrew. One of my dad's last names, Science, says that it comes from Sephardic Jews. So there's a lot of mixing. So there in Mexico, it's not just indigenous, although the majority are indigenous people. There's more than 60 languages spoken in Mexico that are indigenous, not dialects, and they're languages. And then you have, well, like you mentioned, there's a lot of mixture from German to possibly Middle Eastern, Chinese, you know.
The reason why I asked that, well,
adobada tacos are Middle Eastern.
My dad had told me, because I had asked him when he has already passed already, but I had asked him about that Arab question, and he said it was true. And he gave me one example. He gave me many examples. The one that comes to mind is he said, when they pray to their God, they pray Allah. He says, and we say a lot of things like ojalá.
Ojalá. joyas, almohada,
Yes.
alcohol, anything that has like the I forget if it's the O and the H
And
or
even
the A's.
Omar, the name Omar, he was telling me was a Arabic name. One day I was at a meeting, I was at a group meeting with a couple of guys that invited me, and they asked me to stand up and introduce myself. And I stood up and I said, "Me llamo," I always said it in Spanish because that's the way I was always taught,
Right.
Antonio Alvarez. And there was a white dude, he just kept looking at me. I thought he was white, but he was a Sicilian. And he just kept staring at me after he pulled me to the side and he said, "Hey, are you Sicilian?" And I was like, "Nah, bro, what the fuck? I'm Mexican, you know?"
Yeah.
And he was like, he said, because that name travels for generations.
Right.
He goes, in Sicily. And I was like, really? He goes, you know, there's Arabs, there's, I think he said Italians, and I hope I'm not wrong. I think he said French in Sicily. And he said, and that name, he goes, my wife's father is Antonio Alvarez, his father Antonio Alvarez, and it just goes down generations. And I was like, oh, wow. He goes, you ought to look up in the Ancestry thing.
Yeah.
So
No, and a lot of us, we don't know if those are actual blood last names. It could be that you're the owner of your family was a Spanish person, their last name Alvarez, and because you belong to them, but you were indigenous, now you're Alvarez because you belong to them. So that's how a lot of people also have the last names. I mentioned the last name Saenz, like Saenz.
Yeah.
It's other people say that it's like it comes from Sanchez. Also, I've seen that other Portuguese use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do I have Portuguese? I mean, I've read that it's a Sephardic Jew, so there was, what's it called, prosecutions that happened, like when people would come to Mexico for like for safety or whatever.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, and Mexico pretty much took in was anybody, right?
Anybody.
So.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of the mestizaje, right? There's a lot of mixture in Mexico. But going back to internal racism,
yes.
You always hear like the abuelita saying, don't go outside because you're going to get darker. Te vas a poner más prieto.
Yes.
And that's not right. Like, why not celebrate your indigenous roots, your dark features? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But it goes back to colonialism. When the Spanish came, it was more of like the superiority, porque eran blancos, because they were white, they were European, their history mattered, ours didn't, ours got taken away. I see that you have Tlaloc right here, the ancient god of rain, and they destroyed all of that. It was our culture. We had gods, we have goddesses, we prayed, for harvest, for food. Do you know the staple foods of Mexico?
No, please educate us.
Only 3. I call them the Holy Trinity. Well, a lot of people do, right? It's corn, squash, and beans.
Corn,
so
squash,
before the Spanish would come, or before they came, we were living off of fruits, vegetables, no meat, maybe fish, maybe some other wild animals here and there. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe tlacuaches or something like that.
The majority was healthy eating.
It was healthy eating. Amaranth, I think that's how you say it. Chia seeds, the benefits that those have. I mean, not only are they good for you to lose weight, but they have there is a superfood.
Yeah.
If you're, if you have cholesterol or high levels of triglycerides, like I do, those help you lower it. And it's indigenous. Do you know where tomato comes from?
No. I look like a dummy right now, but I'm going to say no.
But you know what? A lot of people don't know. I didn't know. It comes from Mexico. The tomatoes are Mexican. Mm-hmm. And how do we know tomatoes mainly? Like, where do we usually see tomatoes? Italy, spaghetti, pizza, pasta, And it's like, you can't have pasta without our Mexican tomatoes. So that they used to think that tomatoes were venomous, so they wouldn't eat them. Chocolate. It's also Mexican. Mayans used to drink chocolate con chile. They would spike it up, and it was with chile. But only the noble people would drink chocolate, el cacao. And if you read Del Popol Vuh, which is like the sacred book of the Mayans, they talk about that. Eventually, they saw kind of like of a trade and stuff like that. So then they would go and take it to the Aztecs, and then they kind of made it more popular. And then obviously the Spanish came, and then they brought cows and milk, right? So then you alternate, but before it was with water. And it was only like, so I've read that some people would drink it out of skulls.
Wow.
And this is like Mayan time. But I mean, now we have, again, everybody loves chocolate, right? And, it's Mexican.
You know, I think even Starbucks now has a chocolate with a little bit of spice in it.
A spice, right.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of spices are not from Mexico, right? But we do have a lot that are like squash. It's, you know, chiles, right? I love chile.
Of course, of course.
But yeah, it's those little things that a lot of us don't know. Like I mean, nopales, I think everybody knows about nopales, right? Like,
I love nopales.
And nopales are really good if you're a diabetic. If you do a green smoothie of nopales in the morning, just throw in some cucumber and, you know, some water.
Never heard of a smoothie.
My dad was a diabetic. And he did the natural thing of taking those smoothies, and the doctor told him, you don't have to take pills anymore.
Really?
It lowered it. And if you Google it, again, if you have gastritis like I do, sábila, aloe vera, if you take, si te la comes, if you eat it,
right.
you know, it heals the stomach, and gastritis is like a inflammation of the stomach, right? So it's good for ulcers. It's good if you have a burn, right? So we don't, a lot of us, I mean, I think our abuelitas, our mothers, our older ancestors, they know about healing properties through hierbas, right? Herbs and some other kinds of herbs too, right? But, you know, they're medicine.
Okay.
Right?
You know, I wanted to ask you this. What motivated, encouraged you, or was this just things that you were just young to research all this? What was it that called you to it, to do all this research about this history?
It goes back to, I was at junior high, 9th grade, and at Memorial Junior High, so shout out. It's the junior high school right there in Logan Heights. And I had a teacher, Mr. Diaz, and he was a Chicano. He was like 28, I think, at the time. And he's like, hey, you're done with all your schoolwork. I was that nerd.
Okay.
So it was history, it was world history. So I used to always love doing the maps, and like you had to kind of like know like every state and todo eso, right? He's like, I'm gonna give you a book because I want you to read. I mean, you can't just sit there and just listen to music or whatever. Yes. You know, you have to do something. So he hands me a book, and is Always Running, Mi Vida Loca by Luis Rodriguez. And that was my first Chicano book that I ever read. And it was in junior high, and it was not assigned to the class. It was assigned to me because I was done with everything. And so I started reading that book, and it was talking about Sangra and like the rival gangs. I can't remember everything, but it spoke to me. And he said, you're gonna read this in college. And I remember I laughed at him. I was like, I'm not gonna go to college. I'm a girl from the barrio.
Right.
None of my family had gone to college. My brothers were gangsters from Logan. My dad was a farm worker in the flower fields in Encinitas. My mom, she used to clean houses, and she was undocumented at the time. And so, you know, I was like, college, what is that?
Right.
So I feel like that was kind of like I always say that story because I feel like that was kind of like the pool that I read, and I was like, I'm into this book. I read it like in a week.
Yeah.
Because I was just, back then a week, it was fast. I think now I can read books probably faster. But after that, I went into high school, San Diego High, and I went to the School of Arts. And I wanted to be a graphic designer because I am disabled. And I'll share a little bit about my story, I guess, right now, because it kind of ties in.
Okay.
So I was 9 years old when we're coming back from Tijuana, my dad and my younger brother. I was 9, my brother was 7. And my dad was drunk. He had taken some shots. He was no longer taking pills for his diabetes, so he felt like, I can drink. But you know, if you're in a quinceañera, you're going to party it up, right? And we crossed, and my dad got into his car, drove from Tijuana, or San Isidro, and right before the exit on 28th Street on the 5, kind of like on Main Street, so a little bit before 28th Street, my dad, I think he fell asleep, and it was around 1 a.m, and he hit the brake, or I don't know what happened. My brother and I were asleep because it was already bedtime for us.
Yes.
when he hit the CHP, the California Highway Patrol, who was giving a ticket or helping somebody on the side, on the road, on the freeway. But if the cop wouldn't have been there,
Right.
we would have rolled over. My dad's car turned into an accordion. He died instantly. And I was right behind him, so I was the most affected. My brother had minor injuries compared to me. Luckily, our mother was not with us. She was actually working, helping at my aunt's. My aunt has a flower shop in Encinitas, Lopez Flowers. And they were doing a wedding, so a lot of arrangements, right?
Yes.
So she was helping my aunt. And we fainted. I fainted. My dad, obviously, he passed away, and luckily, it's weird, right? But luckily, that CHP was there. They broke the window. They closed down the freeway, and they brought a helicopter to take us to Children's Hospital in San Diego. And I didn't know that my dad died until like a month after. And
You can take your time.
they told my mom I wasn't gonna make it. My aorta ruptured, which is the main vein that goes to your heart. And my back broke. So I became paralyzed from the waist down. And I was only 9 years old, right? Just when I was running around, and I used to love skating.
Yes.
The bikes. I'm actually really glad that I got to experience that, because nowadays nobody wants to go outside and run. And, you know, I get mad. I'm like, dude, you guys should go out there and explore, explore being a kid, play with the little roly-polies, which I don't see them anymore, but I think it's because I grew up, right? And so there I was, unable to speak, but I was able to write, which is interesting because I still write till this day. But that was my way to communicate to my mom, asking her, where's my dad? She would tell me, oh, he's in a different hospital. And I would say no. And I would go like this and point up. I didn't know that he had died.
Yeah.
My brother said that he saw my dad coming in, and he said hi and bye. But he was dead, and my brother didn't know that either.
Right.
And it wasn't until a month later, once I was a little bit more stable, but the doctors pretty much said, if you believe in a miracle, then start praying. If not, start making arrangements, because we don't think she's going to make it. We give her 72 hours. And I pulled through. And after a month, that's when they're like, your dad passed away. And I was like, I think I already knew, but I didn't know how to. I mean, until this day, I still don't know, right? I was a kid. Right. But during this time, I was in rehab. I was there for like 3 months. And I was learning how to put on my pants, how to roll over and pull them on my bed, how to tie my shoes, how to bend my legs, how to use the restroom all over again. I don't mention this, but I think it's important that I talk about this too. I have an ileostomy bag. A lot of people know more of colostomy bags, where part of your colon gets taken out through your stomach, and that's where you poop, pretty much. But because mine was pretty much damaged, I had the opposite. So it's the small intestine that I have out. And I was so embarrassed throughout my whole life because of that. Like, I always wore like baggy shirts because I didn't want people knowing that I had it. But it wasn't until recently that I saw people like showcasing it. And I'm like, that's powerful, because I wouldn't want another kid to go through what I went through. Right. And it's normal.
Yeah.
Or at least we should normalize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was over here learning how to do all that, how to push, how to do a wheelie. I still don't really know. I feel like I'll probably fall. But it was a very, and my mom at the time, she was undocumented. So guess who was doing most of the translating with the doctors? I was. Yeah. That's why it's important that Chicanos, if we can, go do a vocational school, go to college, be in all those spaces that are needed.
Yeah.
But Sorry, I don't.
It's okay.
It gets to me because like I've gone through so much, and I think that's what motivates me to do what I'm doing. But so after that, I was like, went home. I had a big support system with my family, my primos, who we grew up like brothers, my tío, who stepped in as like my dad. And even before my dad passed away, he was kind of like my tío dad.
Yeah.
My mom was a single mom at some point too, and my uncle was like, that's my brother, but you guys are like my kids. So we've always had that. I think that's also very important in our family to, to have that, to be that guidance to somebody, right?
Yeah. Sometimes
we don't have that, but sometimes we look maybe for friends or right? So I eventually grew and I just kept thinking of that that teacher telling me you're gonna go to college. So I took a year off after high school. I graduated high school. Again, a lot of my high school friends didn't graduate with me, or at least the ones that I started from junior high or middle school. The ones that did, we met already in high school, and I was in honor classes, and I didn't know why. I was like, why am I in honors? I don't know anything about British Lit and Beowulf. I didn't connect to it.
Right.
But I connected to what I was running, to that type of literature, to those teachers, right? I mean, all my teachers were really awesome, all races. They were really cool, very supportive. So after high school, I was like, I'm gonna take a year off, see what I want to do. Maybe I'll do graphic design. It seems like, since I'm in a wheelchair, I can just click and do things.
Right.
But my friend, my best friend, my babe, I call her babe, Laura, she's like, I already registered you to community college. You're gonna go. And I'm like, how am I gonna get there? She's like, I'm gonna pick you up, because she bought a car that was big enough. She wanted a Mustang, but she bought a car big enough where the trunk that was big enough so my chair could fit. And so there she was, rolling up. She's like, you're going to take Chicano literature. You're going to take some philosophy classes, some sexual behavior, psychology classes. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? But it was that Chicano class that I took, literature, that sparked the interest of like, hey, I'm over here reading about, like I mentioned earlier, Luis Valdez from Teatro Campesino, who's writing plays on the Chicano movement in the labor, like in the fields.
Yeah.
I come from that family. My abuelitos were braceros in the 40s.
Yeah.
They came from Mexico to Central Valley, Delano, to work the fields because nobody here wanted to do that job.
It's funny you say braceros because my dad used to say that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's only when they want our work, we're open borders, right? And once they're done, they're like, you got to go. And I don't know if a lot of you know, but when you would come over, they would spray you. They would with I forget the name for that, but it's pretty much for lice. You think of the Holocaust and you think of gas, lice, and all of that,
Yeah.
and it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's dehumanizing.
Yeah, right.
And so they went through that, and my grandpa, he was 102 in Mexico, and somebody from here, Social Security, went down there like, is he still alive? Somebody's cashing his checks. He's like, I'm still here, 102.
Wow.
And my other grandpa, he worked also with Cesar Chavez in the UFW, and so he was also getting a pension up until he passed away of the age of 95 in 2016. So I got to hear and document some of those stories just by hear, and just kind of from what I remember, I tend to write about
Awesome.
that.
I don't want to stop you right there because it's getting so
sure.
good, but I want to take a break.
Of course.
Okay. But we're going to press pause and come right back to that, please.
Okay, for sure.
Okay. So, man, I didn't want to stop, so please forgive me, you guys. But we're going to go ahead and take a break, 10 minutes. We'll be right back, and we're going to pick up right where we left off with Joanie Lopez. So, you know what I want to ask you? What is a Chicano? So we're going to find out when we come back.
Type it in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Type in the chat, what is a Chicano, okay? Give us your best definition of it. Okay, we'll be back. 10 minutes. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch.
Tony A, chillin' at the Roadium with my homeboy Steve. Be on the lookout for our new 12-inch, the shit is dope. Yo, I like to say what's up to my homeboy Dre, my homeboy Prince of Jazz, and the girls with the big ol' ass. So Trip, I'm about to bust one more time to let y'all niggas know just what's on my mind.
In the morning, police at my door. Fresh Adidas squeak across my bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, but happy cause free. And the street to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing least a grand.
Ice Cube getting dumb at the Roadium with the funky drum, and you know my man Steve can get some. With a fool like Tony A when he plays stupid dope shit by WA. You wanna spray? Dumb motherfuckers, no doubt. And sucker DJ, get the fuck out. Tony A.
What did you say your name was? What did you say?
Tony A.
I have won 1 million battles. Lights, cameras, action, sound. Give me that mic, I'm about to go down.
thinking of a master plan.
This story's funny. I met this girl and she had money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 151, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with Joanie Lopez from San Diego.
Thank you.
She lives a couple of blocks away from Chicano Park.
Yes.
So, by the way, you know what I can't wait for? I'm having such a great time in this interview, but I can't wait to go eat. Because the food that you brought looks so damn delicious. Now, for the people that may not know or didn't get to see the pot you brought, what did you make? So
I made, from what I've been hearing on your podcast, is that you like carne de puerco con chile verde.
Yes.
So that's my mom's recipe. She helped me because it was my first time. Lately, because of COVID, and now that I'm no longer in school, and I graduated from UCSD in 2019.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I didn't have much to do after that, and then COVID hit, right? I've been cooking a lot, but that's another thing that I've struggled, and I think a lot of disabled people, especially in wheelchairs, we struggle a lot working our way in the kitchen. Most of the time, the kitchen is not accessible to us. The stove is like literally like eye level, so I have to get like a shield so I don't get, the oil on my face, although I got it on my hand. But it's been a struggle, but I've been really, really enjoying cooking. My boyfriend really loves my food.
I'm sure he does.
And you follow my Instagram.
Yes.
I'm constantly posting like dishes that I'm doing, that I'm testing out. It's just like a hobby of mine, and I know that my mom's not going to be here forever. She always wants to like cook for all of us, and I'm like, Mom, I think it's time that I handle the kitchen, and I can do it myself as well. Just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean that I'm not capable of cooking and tending to other things.
Yes.
But yes, that's my
chile verde.
Chile verde con arroz.
Hell yeah, I can't wait. But you know what? So let's pick up right where we left off. I had mentioned something, and maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead. We can always come back to where you left off. But the word Chicano, for people that may not know, because there's a lot of people that say Chicano power, Chicano this, Chicano that, even Chicano rap. Many people that I've came across filming this Chicano rap documentary, if I've asked 20 rappers that were Chicano rappers, what does the word Chicano mean? Many of them would literally sit there and say, well, you know what it means.
Right.
And I give me, well, I'm Chicano. And that's pretty much their best answer because they don't know really what it means. So if you can educate us, where does that come from?
Of course. It's lengthy because there's many, I guess, definitions and also the history, right? So Chicano, many have said that it comes from the term Mexica. The Mexica, you probably know them as the Aztecs. So it's the term for many years, Chicano was seen as a negative. It had a negative connotation. It meant that you were, and also a classist. It meant that you were poor. You're probably dirty, right? Like it had a very negative.
Uneducated.
Yeah. And it wasn't until the 60s, and I will say like during the Crusade for Justice with Jorge Gonzalez, the youth of the Chicano Power movement, or the Chicano movement, which was inspired by the Black Power movement, the Civil Rights movement, prior to that, years before that. The Black Panthers and, everybody in that time, they were fighting for equity, to end segregation, right? And you have the Black Panthers. A lot of us know the Black Panthers through Tupac.
Yeah.
His godmother was Assata Shakur, who is living in Cuba as an exile. And she mentions in her biography that they would read international history of revolutions, such as in Mexico and in Cuba and Argentina. And so it's no surprise that Tupac got renamed, Tupac Amaru, after Tupac Amaru II from Peru, who was fighting for indigenous rights. And so the Chicanos, we saw that they're like, we want our own change. We want our own self-determination. We've been going through so much from the Pachuco era, the Zoot Suiters, which back in the day, I mean, here in LA, right? Like they, many were, I mean, they would cut their hair, shave their hair. The sailors did that in the 40s, and to even wear a zoot suit, it meant that you were working class. You're saving up for that, to look fly. To have, and they were creating their own culture because they were not Mexican, right? Here, if you spoke Spanish, they would, put the little donkey on your head, the hat, and they would punish you. So if a lot of Chicanos don't know Spanish, it's because the way that the system here took that from us. So in the 60s, they're like, we want to reclaim our history. We want to know who we are. We want to know our roots, our indigenous roots, but also like learn Spanish, learn our ancestry, right? And so the term Chicano, it became a political term, a conscious term. Someone famous, his name was Ruben Salazar, who got killed in the Chicano moratorium, which was a protest for against the Vietnam War, because mainly Chicanos were the ones at war. More than 30,000 people were marching during the Chicano moratorium, and there were, I think it was 10% were Mexican Americans in the barrios in the Southwest, and 20% were the ones getting killed at Vietnam. So it was again during the Chicano movement has different dimensions. There's the crusade for justice with the youth, and in creating change when it came to, like I mentioned, the creating those spaces and groups like Mecha, Movimiento Estudiantil Chicanos de Aztlán, who eventually created Chicano studies in high schools and colleges, universities, the Brown Berets in the barrio, protecting us from police brutality. Because as the Chicano moratorium, there was a lot of repression, a lot of even deaths that happened during that time. So this Ruben Salazar guy, he was a writer for the LA Times. He was, I guess you could say, kind of like the voice of Chicanos during that time.
Yes.
And for somebody to be a Chicano in the LA Times in that time, it was like huge.
Yes.
He says that a Chicano is someone who doesn't have an Anglo image of himself. So you're closer to your roots, like your Mexican roots, right? Other people have said that a Chicano is someone who's closer to their community, someone who's reclaiming their land, the language, the customs. Cheech Marin says, I'm a Chicano because I say so. So a lot of people, and I think one of your guys that you had here, the guy that came from Atlanta, I think he said, I don't think I'm Chicano. I think if I'm not mistaken, he said, I don't think I'm Chicano because I was born in Mexico, but I was kind of like raised here. And I'm like, no, but you can be Chicano even if you're from Mexico and raised here.
Right.
It's a political term, and it's also the socio-economic status that you're living here in these barrios.
Right.
But then also, let's not forget that there's people who what's it called? They appropriate it, right? And then they claim it, but they're not putting in work for the barrios. They're not, they just want the fame.
Right.
They want to look maybe to them is being dressed up as a gangster.
Yeah.
And I think also that, like, a lot of people, when they think Chicano, they're like, I'm not Chicano, I'm not a cholo or a pocho, or, and it's like, no, there's more to that.
Right. Let me ask you something, and this may be a little bit off topic, but somewhat the same, tied into the same. What is then Chicano rap?
I think, again, going back to being constructive from what is in the barrios, the way that we grew up. I mean, people that are, and I'll say this because, for example, my cousin, many of you might know him. He goes by the name of Greedy Loco. He was rapping about what was happening in our hood, in Logan Heights. Okay. But the reason that we live that style is not because it's a choice. I mean, if we look at history in the 80s, what was happening in the 80s? What epidemic was in the 80s?
Yeah.
Crack, drugs. Who put those in the communities?
Yeah.
The government.
You're right.
Who silenced these movements? The Black Panthers. Who silenced them? The FBI.
You're right.
Why? Because we were creating change. We were protecting our communities. We weren't going to the cops for help. You know about WIC, right?
No. I mean, I know what WIC is.
Okay.
But.
Okay, you know how it's for women.
Correct.
With children.
Somebody once said, and I'm not trying to make fun of them, but some community said women in chanclas.
Oh my God. But do you know where that comes from?
No, I'm just.
The Black Panthers.
Really?
It was a free breakfast club for the community. They would wake up early in the morning. If you read Assata Shakur's biography, I recommend you read it. Even audio, it's on audiobook as well. She'll said, that they would wake up early in the morning to make pancakes or whatever it is for the hungry children.
Awesome.
And then the government, they're like, oh, let's take that and make it ourselves, and let's erase their work, and let's put them in jail. That's why a lot of Mutulu Shakur, Tupac's stepfather, he's still in prison. He's a political prisoner, right?
Right.
So that happened also with the Chicanos. Unfortunately, that's ended up happening. We're striving for equity. We're striving for self-determination. We want to police our own, not police, community control. We want community control of our barrios.
Right.
We don't want more police in our communities. And if we didn't have those drugs, we wouldn't be killing each other.
Right.
Prison is where they make most of the money. I mean, they made it, it's on purpose. They put these drugs because they want Raza, black and brown, or people of color to be locked up because the government makes money off of, our gente. And who makes her calzones, a Victoria's Secret? People in prison for a couple cents. So and that's the reason why we have Chicano. I mean, I feel like that's one of the many reasons. Also, the culture, the history, right? But I think it's also those of what we grew up, and it's not by mistake that it's there. It was put there for us to kill each other instead of the white killing us directly. It's like, you guys can do it,
Yeah.
So we rap what we see, what we live. Mm-hmm. And it's that part of the Chicano experience, and it's unfortunate, right? But it's the reality.
Right.
And many of us don't have those mentors or those teachers that can, from the get-go, when we're young, educate us on our cultura. I mean, if you went to school here, I don't know if you ever read anything on Mexican Americans or Chicanos, or of our history, other than maybe Cesar Chavez. If anything. I'm going to share something with you, and I say this shamefully, okay? Mm-hmm. And because you're sparking something in me, but I need to say this, that I'm going to tell you, growing up, what always captivated me was Egyptology. I just loved the pyramids, and I loved the hieroglyphics. I loved all of that. So I began reading that, and then I began to read in Assyria, and then Babylon, and then Persia, and then Greece, and then Rome, and then Israel. Mm-hmm. So I cannot say that I had put that same type of time that I spent into my culture. I haven't. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do I know a little bit? Of course, but that's why it's important to have conversations like this, podcasts, platforms like this, so that we can educate ourselves. Because I'm being educated right now, So, and I thank you for that. Of course.
But let me just interject really quick when you said what was going on in the 80s. One thing that a lot of people forget too, AIDS was really big. Mm-hmm. Really big. Crack. Okay. One guy said this in a documentary, Hip Hop Uncovered. He said, man, we were ballers back in the day. Now, he's a U.S. resident. He goes, we were ballers back in the day, man. He goes, talking about the 80s. Mm-hmm. He said, but we couldn't get not one damn Cuban cigar, but we had a crack in every corner.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And he said, how did they get there? Mm-hmm. And it's true. They let that shit in. Give it to them, let them kill each other.
Right.
I knew Chicano brothers that were shooting at each other because they were thinking somebody was short stopping, for themselves, so.
I mean, yeah, American me, right? Kind of. No,
Yeah.
but it's true, and also the 80s is a time of like the Hispanic era too. You no longer hear Chicano, and it's not by coincidence. It's like we want to stop the movement. We want to stop. You know, they saw that we had power, and also part of the Chicano, we had La Raza Unida party in Texas, and we ran. And I say we because we're Chicanos, right? We ran Ramsey Muñiz, who I took notes because I was like, let me remember exactly. But he was a star quarterback at Baylor College University, and he ended up getting 220,000 votes to become governor of Texas, but it was not enough to win. So we always think there's always only Democrats and Republicans. Like those are the only two parties that we can vote for, right? But there's other options. If Raza, like Raza Unida Party, they were pushing for a Chicano to be, you know, to have our own political party, and unfortunately, pues no ganó, he didn't win. But I think that gives us hope that, you know, if we were organized right now, if more Chicanos are you know, were more informed, more educated on some such important topics, we could create a lot of change. We don't have to go for I mean, the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans. The Democrats are the ones who put the militarized wall. It was Bill Clinton. It was no mistake that bilingual classes in the 90s got eradicated. They didn't want us to continue, you know, learning our own culture.
Yeah.
So I think Chicano rap, I think, you know, it stems from pues de todo eso, like everything that our barrios they deal with, you know. And I know a lot of it's like violence and gangs and shootings, and deaths, right? But it's a little bit of everything, I think.
Okay. And I'm glad you shared your opinion on it, on what you thought, because I asked a lot of people that, and the best answer that I heard was, once again, and I repeated this several times, by Rich G. He said, it's our cultures, nuestra cultura. It's our culture that we're rapping about. And I love that answer. To me, that's the best answer. You know, a couple of guys just say, Mexicans rapping off of oldies. Like that was what that was their best answer, you know. But yes, but I don't know. But please, I just made myself laugh. But it's true. A lot of these guys would tell me that because they didn't know. Right. But I think a lot of them may have the mentality that you had at one point in your life when you said, I'm not going to college. Like, I'm not going to study. And I think, you know what, because I had that as a youngster. I'm not going to go. That shit ain't for me. Right. You know? And we think so small-minded, you know. You know, when I get guys that come here and tell me, you know, I want to rap. I always encourage them, why don't you go to school? And here's what I tell them. We need more people in Showtimes and HBOs and Netflix and Hulu's. We need, so that way when our people go with our stuff, the door's already open because we have people that will understand us. Yeah. When I was shopping my documentary, and believe me, I knocked on all of these doors. And everybody that I met didn't even grow up in Southern California, so they didn't understand not only the mixtape era, the 80s era, but also coming from a Chicano like me. Right. Pennsylvania, Canada, Milwaukee. And I literally had to ask this one guy, because he really pissed me off, because he was like, I don't get it. You know, that's what he was telling me, wearing plaid pants, okay? And I literally said, look, bro, no disrespect, but is there any black people or Chicano people that work here? Because maybe they'll understand me. I said, you weren't raised here. Right. Well, I go, where are you from? Pennsylvania. Así me dijo. And I go, do you listen to rap? I like the Hammer and MC Young. I was like, oh, wow. All right. So I knew it was a rap. Right. Because we don't even have our own people in there, but we have a lot of our people saying, fuck school. Right. You know?
And, you know, I want to highlight that because I went to community college, and a lot of people look down on community colleges because it's not a 4-year university, right? I come from a single mom, right? After my dad passed away, I didn't have the money to go to straight for university. So I was like, you know what? And it was because my friend, she was like, I already signed you up. So I got financial aid. There's financial aid if you qualify, if you're low income. You know, you could get financial aid, and more or so it's like around, I think it's like almost $2,000 every semester or so. If I'm not mistaken, I forget because I was in college for a very long time. And that's one thing that I used to be ashamed of, because I was in college for 7 years at community college. I was just taking classes and classes because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I took so many philosophy classes. I love to read. I like to learn, like you mentioned, culture, right? Cultura. So I took like from Asian philosophy to existentialism and a lot of things that I'm like, what was I studying back then? But eventually I stumbled across Chicano studies. I took all of the classes. I got my associates in Chicano studies. And then I also took English because I love to write. It was just, se me viene like natural. It's like a natural to me. Yeah. And I got my another associates with English to transfer, and a creative writing certificate. So, and then another certificate called the advocacy. So, and then I was also the chair of MECHA, Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán. Aside from that, I was also doing solidarity work with the Black department in Black Studies department at Chicano at City College. And earlier you were talking to the other guest, and you were talking about music and the if you're a gangster rapper, you probably have it a hard time. Well, it was during this time that there was a Southeast San Diego rapper who got convicted because of his lyrics, and they were saying that they were tied into some of the shootings, and he was facing life. And it wasn't just him; it was like more than 15 other men. And they had a penal code at the time in San Diego. I don't know if it's still active. I should have done my research on that. But you would become an associated gang member just by you would be a documented gang member just by association. So whether it was your lyrics in the songs, or you were talking about certain things that happened in your hood, the way that you were dressed, because you're wearing blue, you're probably a sureño, because you took a picture with someone who was a documented gang member, you are already an associated gang member. So there was abuelitas, little babies, already in the database. And you wouldn't have known unless they would pull you over, and then they screen you, and then boom, you have a case, right? So during this time, I was doing a lot of that work at community college, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing, that's where I met Big June, and Odessa Kane. You have to have them here too. Southeast San Diego rappers, Mitchie Slick. I haven't met Mitchie Slick, right? But he was another that I could see. I don't think he was targeted, but he's probably from that area where a lot of people were getting targeted. But a lot of people, even on Instagram, I see them tossing up the hood, and I'm like, you do notice that cops are probably looking at you, and you can be being in that data, in that gang database, and without you knowing, because it was also like people just tossing up whatever thing. Well, it was like a category. I have the picture where it's like the whole, the 10 category in San Diego. And so I was just seeing the connections, and I was like, you know what? No, my professor, she's like, Joanie, you have to transfer. You've been here for so long. You could be teaching already. Yeah. You have to transfer. And I applied to San Diego State my first year. I got denied. I was like, man, no que I'm smart, But the thing is a lot of people go to San Diego State. A lot of the Cal States, or at least in San Diego, that's like the one that almost everybody applies, because you don't have to write a personal statement. You just put in your grades and your GPA, right? And that's it. So she's like, no, I think you're UCSD material, or at least UC material. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to move. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I live with my mom. My mom, we live with each other. So I'm like, I know she would move with me, but I don't want to move. Right. And I was already kind of doing activism in my community, and closer to the park, it's like, that's my home, Chicano Park. So she's like, I'll help you. So literally the day before the application was due, there she was, a professor who's Chicana, who also went to UCSD, was getting her PhD at the time in Chicano literature. She was helping me putting in those numbers while I was typing my personal essay, and I think it's important that I say this, because get involved in if you're in college, get involved in a club. If you don't like a club, start your own. Yeah. UC schools or any colleges, they look at those applications. How are you different from the rest? the way that you're actually, maybe you're a leader or you're taking these extracurricular activities. I was being published. I published in community college in anthology books that you can get now on Amazon. I was published with the screenwriter of Blood In, Blood Out, Jimmy Santiago Vaca. He's in the same anthology as me. And I'm like, wow, like to me, that's like, you know, it's like huge. I got to meet him and everything. And I put that down in it's like a resume that when you're doing your personal statement, but it's like a lengthy essay of maybe like 6 pages or so. And I was putting, you know, I've been published, I've done Mecha for so long, I've done solidarity work with Black and Brown. We've, you know, also there's so many scholarships out there at community college that also, the fact that my mom works for a labor union, I just had to write an essay as to how was connected to my work of studies, and I won $500. There are scholarships on if you're majoring in English or in writing, another $500. I'm talking about community college.
Yeah.
So that I applied to San Diego State and UCSD. I'm like, I'll see what's up. I'll see where I get in. I got accepted into both, but I took the UCSD route because they were granting me $20,000, so a free ride to UCSD. I didn't have to pay anything. And there was a humanities program with City College, San Diego City College, and UCSD, where if you're in the humanities and Chicano studies and English fall into that category, you can start off in the summer. They give you a stipend of $3,000, and you just have to take 2 courses, 5-week courses. That's a lot at UCSD because you're reading like a book every like 3 days. And it was like on urban planning and zoning, and it's important that we know that because you know, I was coming around here and I'm like, you know, this is so much like Barrio Logan. There's a lot of pollution in LA. I can see, I mean, I can't really see because of the pollution. Asthma rates are probably high, you know, and a lot of health defects and a
lot of health defects.
So, or problems. And so you learn about all that. And it's not by coincidence that, for example, in Barrio Logan, we have a beautiful park, right? But we're right next to the shipyards. We can't access that beach that's right there by my house because it's full of pollution. It's probably cancerous, you know. It's by no surprise that they put the I-5 right in the community, and that's where Logan Heights got split into Logan Heights and Barrio Logan because of the freeway, the I-5. And I mean, we're lucky we have Chicano Park, which is a little piece of land that we call, you know, La Tierra Mía, that, you know, back in the days, this was Mexico. Y luego we sold it, right? Although we know that it wasn't sold, it was pretty much robbed. And that's a little space in Barrio Logan, and I will say in all Califaslan, right, that we claim it. We reclaimed it. We reclaimed that little history, and I don't know if you're familiar with that little history. But in 1970,
sure,
I'm over here going on a tangent.
No, it's okay.
1970 in Logan Heights was actually in the 40s, before I say the 70s. It was the second largest Chicano barrio in the West Coast. I'm assuming East LA over here being, you know, number one. And it's mainly Mexicanos. At the time, it was a mix of, you know, I think also Portuguese and African. And so in 1970, they were going to make a highway patrol station where Chicano Park is at. But the city had already told the community, we're going to make you a park. But then once we started seeing that they were coming in already with bulldozers and everything, Mario Solis, he said he was a resident and a student. He went and told everybody from house to house, you know, hey, this is what's going down. We have to come over here. And we created a human chain, and we protected that piece of land. Nobody pretty much everybody just stayed there. Las abuelitas and everybody would come and bring food every day. And we started planting and plucking and putting the nopalera right there, the trees. Eventually the murals came up. It was inspired actually by David, I believe it was David Siqueiros and Orozco and Rivera and Frida Kahlo, that Salvador Torres Queso, that he envisioned this of the pillars being painted with our history. Again, it was during the time of the Chicano movement. Then you have like the movement with art, Chicano art,
right?
The renacimiento of our culture, right? And so that's why we have Chicano history depicted throughout Chicano Park, but it's a little piece of land that we call our own, and it's being run by community members, the Chicano Park Steering Committee.
Awesome.
And so I don't know, I'm really excited, but yeah. So going back to the school and doing all the work I was already doing in the community, I was like, I'm gonna go to UCSD, but I still want to, because I think a lot of us who do go to college forget to go back to our communities.
Yes.
Forget to help out, our young ones. If it's not your younger brother, it could be your neighbor.
Right.
Help them fill out those applications.
Absolutely.
Like you said, like, how come they're not in these spaces? There's something for everybody. There's film. I went into my degree is on U.S. Latino Latin American literatures. So I was studying stuff from like Mexico to Cuba and everything is literature. And
right.
I took a Mayan class, which and right now when you mention the pyramids, it's interesting because a lot of people, they're like, oh, the aliens probably created the pyramids, and it's like, why not the Mayans? Right. Why is it so hard to believe that our people were capable of doing such thing? But we glorify the Romans and their architecture and the Greeks.
You're right.
And how come we don't do that with our own? How come it has to be the aliens? I mean, maybe they helped, but maybe they were down with the Mayans. I don't know. But
there's a lot of people that do believe aliens.
Right. But no, we were really smart. I mean, we still are smart people. I mean, even what's it called? El drenaje. What's it called? The aqueducts and all of that in Mexico. It was established there. We would shower before the Europeans would not even shower. We would shower every day.
That's the truth.
They would use perfume all the time.
That's the truth. And I was taught that as a kid.
No, yeah. And so all of that, I was like, you know what? Not only do I want to get my degree in something that I love, which is literature and writing and all of that, I had to learn how to I had to learn how to read and write in Spanish. And it's not your typical 101 English class.
Right.
I mean, Spanish class. It was more like comprehension and reading documents from like the Spanish when they came to Mexico. So I was actually reading actual work from, for example, the Broken Spears, but in Spanish, Las Visiones de los Vencidos, I think it's called, by Miguel León de Porta, I forget his last name. But they talk about La Llorona in those, it's kind of like a codicy book.
Right.
So all of that, inspired me to continue with the education, but also be an activist and be a community organizer.
Awesome. There was a guy that I grew up with, older man, and he was Spaniard, okay? But I guess, he kind of like, he saw himself more like a Chicano/Mexicano because he grew up here. Now, his parents were from Spain. He grew up and he became a missionary, okay? And he wanted to be a missionary to in Spain. He goes, what better to go talk to my people?
Right.
He was out there 5 years, and he came back, and this is what he said. Now, he's a Spaniard, but he was raised here. And he said, man, the most prideful people, and he's traveled everywhere being a missionary, the most prideful people that I ever met in my life, he said, were my own. They were Spaniards. He said that he would be out preaching out in the open market, I guess. And he goes, I don't mind people spitting at me, mocking me, throwing stuff at me. He goes, but don't ignore me. They ignored me for 5 years. He said, after 3 years, after raising up enough money, I started up a small church. He said, within 2 years, maybe 10 members. And that's fine. I left and it started to bloom. I let somebody take over. He goes, but I will not go back there. He said, I will not go back there. And it kind of goes along with what you were saying, and believe me, I don't want to say nothing wrong, because I do have a lot of my friends that are Spaniards and I love them. But my goodness, it is very, very true. I've had a lot of them that are just very, very prideful what I mean by that is that one of them actually got upset with me one day and told me, "You're just a Mexican. We're the originals." You know, and what was in his heart really came out.
Right.
You know, that's pretty much what he told me. And later on, I guess he kind of like told me he was sorry, but though I know it was in his heart to tell me, he told me I was raised prejudiced against Chicanos, Mexicans, whatever you guys are called, by my ancestors. He said they just hate Mexicans, you know. And, you know, I really don't know why that was, you know, why that is. He just said we're the originals, so.
You know, right now you reminded me of in San Diego, in Lemon Grove, there was I don't know if you've heard of the Lemon Grove incident.
No.
In the 1931, Mexicans and Mexican Americans, they were being separated from going to schools with everybody, whites, and you know, they were teaching them in barns, and they took it to the Superior Court, and the Superior Court of San Diego County, they said that they could not. That was unlawful because Mexicans were considered white when it comes to race because of the European ancestry. Although we know that not every Mexican has, you know, Spanish, but it was ruled, and I guess you can say we won the case. And this is before the Brown and Board of Education court later on in the years. But I think it's because of that superiority, like you mentioned. Right, and it's colonialism. Yes. That, and unfortunately, even Mexicanos, those that are light skinned, you know, también they think, oh, tengo ojos azules, blue eyes, like, you know, I'm better than the what they call us, el indio, patarrajada, or you know, like you hear that all often. Of course. I'm better than you because my grandpa was great, you know, Spanish, or you know, and, right. But it goes back from that, and maybe your friend probably doesn't know, like acknowledge it or doesn't know it, but it stems from so many years, right? Yeah. And I know we do it too. Yes, yeah, because I remember when he said, you know what, I'm better than you. I'm better than you, and I was like, we're the originals. I'm like, the fuck you talking about, bro? We're just having a couple of beers, homie. Like, pero se le salió. That was what was in his heart. So I understood it, you know. And then he later on started opening up. Yeah, my grandparents taught me I'm a racist, you know, because we don't like Mexicans and this and this and that. And all right, bro. And I don't know if you've seen even on Instagram where there's like old pictures where there's signs that says no Mexicans, no women, no dogs, no Negroes. Yes. And it's like, man, that's how they saw us back then. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Almost like we weren't even humans. Right. Yeah. You know, I wanted to ask you something. Have you ever read that book? And I hope I think Tortilla Curtain? No. No? Okay. Pretty good book. You got to check it out. It's a pretty good book. So I recommend it for you guys to read it. But yeah, I'm not going to say what it's about. Go Google it. But you know what? I'm glad everything you're sharing, because it's public knowledge. People going to go look it up, you know, themselves, and do their own research instead of just taking your word for it. I always tell people this: if I share something with you, he says, I better tell you at least where I got it from, because and if you can't find it, then I lied to you. You don't have to come back. Right. You know, but everything that I share, I always tell people it's public knowledge. You can go look it up. We come from a generation where we didn't have freaking Google. We literally had to go study. Today, kids like, okay, there it is. You're right. You know, and a lot of the time it's not right. I mean, anybody can go on Wikipedia and put whatever. True. You know, and you think, oh, I'm over here. That's why when doing college work, you have to cite every little thing. So if you do look up any history, I do recommend that you look up scholarly essays. A lot of even websites, if they're scholarly, usually they end with the .edu. Okay. Or like the name of the university. So that's kind of how you know if it's like legit, or like I said, scholarly, peer-reviewed essays or whatever. Sometimes they're like on PDF files, so you may have to like download the whole thing. Okay. But right now, I mean, on YouTube, there's like so much. I mean, I Am Joaquin, which is a poem that I think that also popularized the term Chicano back in the days, written by Corky Gonzalez, who was also a boxer. And his ashes, part of them are at Chicano Park. But he wrote a poem called I Am Joaquin, and you can, if you don't want to read it, it's on YouTube. You can listen to it. You can listen to it, and it has pictures. Like, it has murals and paintings. It's split into two. Same thing with the Chicano Park history. If you want to learn more about it, there's a documentary. And we're also we're going to be hosting it with the Chicano Park Steering Committee. We're going to be hosting it on the Facebook Chicano Park main page in the week of the 18th till the 25th, celebrating the 51 anniversary of Chicano Park. Because of COVID, because everything's it's shut down. There's no events at Chicano Park. Because of or celebration of Chicano Park, but there's ways you can donate. There's ways that you can reshare and still know the history by looking those, Googling or YouTubing, the history.
Okay, just a couple of more questions. Is there a book that, like, you can recommend that somebody can go get, and that will help educate them in some of the things that we talked about that you could recommend?
I think, there's so many, right? But I think one that I feel like a lot of people have probably read or will probably read is Gloria Anzaldua's book called Borderlands. And that one talks a lot about the mestizaje, Chicano, ni de aquí ni de allá, that kind of thing. And so I highly recommend that book. If you want to know more about like Chicano nationalism, El Plan Espiritual de Aztlán by Corky Gonzalez, you can read some of that. You can also, if you want to know more of like I was mentioning, some of the codices of how the Spanish came and what happened with, like, there was those alliances between the people from Tlaxcala. Look up the Broken Spears. I feel like that's also, it's an easy read as well, but it's, it has pictures y todo eso. So I think those, what's another book? The Crusade for Justice book by Ernesto Vigil, who's also a very great supporter and friend of mine, comrade of mine, who's also one of the founders of the Crusade for Justice. His book is probably like this thick, really big. But it's on Amazon. You can find it there.
Well, if they can read Harry Potter books, they can.
I know,
read that.
yeah, right.
Okay.
And it's history. It's you'll be educated. And there's probably more, right? But
Okay.
I think those are pretty.
My next one was oh God, I was already thinking about my next question before this one. Yes, let me say. There was say there's a young woman like yourself, maybe she's a teenager, and maybe she feels like, nobody like yourself, nobody in my family went to college. Mm-hmm. Why should I go to college? What would you say to encourage, someone like that who's watching?
The way I see it is like, I saw my grandparents struggle, my dad's struggle. And it's like, I want to make them proud. It's not just for them, but it's also for me. Like, I belong in those spaces just as any white person belongs in those academia or academic spaces, right? There's power, there's opportunities, there's grants. If you are scared, I think a lot of people are scared because of financial, that, and we don't know, we don't know how to navigate. And I'll be honest, I feel like an outsider at UCSD, where the majority of the people are international students.
Right.
Nothing against that, but it's just like I couldn't really find my niche, I guess. Right. I only made friends with the professors, they're doctors, right? Professors. I love them so much. I learned so much from them. But I only made like one or two friends, and they were really young. They're like, how old are you again? And I'm like, I'm 28. She's like, shut up, I'm only 22. Again, because majority of the people that go into universities are freshly out of high school. Yes. They probably, I never took those tests that you take in high school to, I forgot what they're called. Those SATs or something. I never took them because I think I couldn't afford them, or I don't know what happened, but I never took them. But I would say, do it for yourself. You have power. Be educated. And if college is not your thing, then find a vocation. Find your passion that you think will benefit you. But I always tell people, even being a bilingual gives you that extra money in a job setting.
Absolutely.
You put that on your resume. Take some, be an interpreter. Do whatever it is. Just something that you can maybe help out in one way or another. Right now, unfortunately, a bachelor's is nothing. I have a bachelor's, right, and my minor's in Chicano studies, but it's nothing compared to a master's or even a PhD. And right now, a couple years back, a BA was like a lot, right?
Right.
So now I'm like, man, maybe I should go back to get a PhD, to get myself a PhD. And I'm like, if I do get a PhD, maybe I'll do something with rap or something. No sé.
Right.
But that's like 6 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, you have to teach y todo eso. So I'm like, I don't know. Or maybe I want to do a master's. Master's could be from a year to 3 years.
Right. Okay. You know what? Let me share something. Growing up, my father said, that we couldn't speak English at home. Afuera se habla el inglés, aquí se habla el español. So, okay, fine. We would go to school, and every once in a while, I would see like some of my friends that I met that just came from Mexico, and they were new, so I would talk to them in Spanish. But a lot of times, and I'm going to be real with you, when I was either in elementary or in junior high school, now they call it middle school, I was afraid to talk Spanish in front of my white friends. Aha, fucking wetback, honestly. And I would be like, shit, they know now that I talk Spanish. Now, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that tell me, fuck, I wish I knew 2 languages. Bitch, you used to laugh at me, Right. But especially knowing 2 different languages. And I studied a little bit of Hebrew. I speak a little bit of Hebrew, a little bit of Greek. But I got no college degree or nothing. I just educated myself.
And that's fine too. Libraries are free.
Yes.
You don't even have to buy those books on Amazon. You can just go and rent them.
Libraries are free. Remember that, you guys.
They're free. And I know in our communities, I know in some, I right now can't think of, but I've seen places, at least in San Diego, where they rent books to the community, like political books, where you can learn about your history and just come back and return them.
Hey, you know where I want to work before I ask you my last question? When I retire and I walk away from all of this crap and I disappear, seriously, you know where I want to work? I want to be retired, either working at a library or at a museum.
Oh, I can totally see that.
My whole thing, I want to be around kids and I want to educate the next generation. So because I'll point at a dinosaur and I go, that was not billions of years ago, son.
Right.
No, but I really do want to work at a library because I love books, and then I just love the peace of a museum.
Create your own library.
Yeah, you're right.
You can recommend them. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, maybe I should write like my recommendations of certain books, of certain things. And if I have them, maybe I can lend them to. And I tend to do. My friend Robert, I know you're watching. I let him borrow like 4 British literature books. They're like this big that I used in community college. And he just brought them back today, and he brought me some tortas. He's like, "Here, thank you for lending me the book." So if you have that, be that. A lot of us can't afford. I mean, some of those books go for what, $100?
Yeah, it's ridiculous ass prices. But
rent them. Yeah. There's check.com where if you're a student, you can rent them for the semester, and then you return them back. I mean, you do have to pay like $30 or whatever, but 30 compared to 100, you save yourself. Or go to a library and check them out.
My last question: anything I didn't ask you that you want to promote or share?
Of course. So I'm also a member. So I mentioned that I write. I haven't tapped in a lot into that as of lately, as for my own personal stuff. But I'm also a member of Unión del Barrio, and we are an organization, an independent organization that came from San Diego. We also have one here in LA. And we've done numerous of campaigns, from political campaigns, because we do believe in creating our own political party that's not ni demócratas ni republicanos. We do believe que el pueblo vencerá. Unidos venceremos. And we have an escuela Aslan. So we created our own school for the youth, for Raza youth. And it's every other Saturday. Right now it's being through Zoom. So we're educating the Chicanitos, right? Chicanitas on our history, things that we're talking about right now, but in a form for them, right? Like, probably, and I'm not even using big words because I hate that. It's not accessible to our community when you start using, those
some people try to use $25 words to impress the next man.
Right. So. And another thing, right, ahorita me acordé right now that I remembered, and, Unión, we say this too, like, activism online can only go so far. You have to reach the community. My mom doesn't look on Instagram for a marcha, right, or anything that we want to advertise. You have to go to them, to the people, knock on their door, put a little flyer, talk to them, like hey, what are your concerns in this community? What's affecting you? Get to know your neighbor. not just on social media. So that's, create pamphlets.
Yeah.
We also have the Chicano Mexicano Prison Project, which is kind of the area where I'm at right now. We have a newsletter called Las Calles y la Torcida, and we send our own newsletter, which we help edit. Like I help write some of the articles, or edit some of the articles, or edit some of the layout.
Right.
For and it's just a simple, 8-page, 4 but 8 total page of newsletter that we send to around 200 people in prison, and they write to us, especially right now with COVID. They're the most affected people right now. Have they gotten the vaccine? Are they gonna get a vaccine? They're workers. They're in cells where they are more, closer to getting the virus. Right. Many have died. We've received mail telling us like they couldn't even wear masks. They couldn't even wash the masks. They had to reuse them. This is like when it was barely hitting. Right. And people in the detention centers, the mujeres, they had to sign paper saying that if they got COVID, they couldn't sue the facility. Even though it's in you can get COVID, right? Because it's a very small space. So we do that. We just finished doing a fundraiser for stamps. So we're grassroots, so we don't get no funding. We're not a nonprofit. Nonprofits, they can't really say what they really want to say sometimes because, you're being controlled. So grassroots, you have, you can say whatever the heck you want to say, right? Right. And do whatever you want to do. But we get money from the community. People want to donate. We do fundraisers. We pay dues, as members. And so we did a stamp drive, and people are like, hell yeah, I have my primo, he's in prison, please send him a newsletter. And we try to put pretty much any bill that's pertaining people in prison, cultura. There's so many that are like, oh, I'm purepecha, please send us information. Right. They want that human interaction. I know right now with COVID, a lot of us probably haven't had that interaction, but we know that we do need it. Right. And then we also have a conference. It's the prison conference on colonialism, and we're actually going on our 23rd annual one. Wow. And then so that's coming up in June 5th. Look out for the flyer for that. If you do follow me on Chicana con Zafos on Instagram, you'll probably be hearing about it. And then we also have the educators, teachers, they work with Raza educators, ARE. They hold scholarships. I won a scholarship there, and I was able to use that and I bought myself a motorized chair. So I used a manual chair, so I pushed myself. But when I went to UCSD, going from Barrio Logan all the way to La Jolla, where, it's very wealthy, I had to take the bus for 30 minutes, then the trolley, and then the bus. So it would take me around an hour and a half. Wow. So I would read on the bus, and then by the time I would get home, I was almost done with my homework. But I got that chair with that money. So shout out to ARE. They do amazing work, and they also have a youth conference every year or so. And then we have the patrullajes in our communities. So we go and patrol the communities such as Barrio Logan, Linda Vista, Shelltown, any community that is getting hit with migra. Yeah. So a lot of ICE. So we pretty much know how to identify ICE just by looking at their cars. We can kind of know which is one. And sometimes they go into the houses and they take people and without a warrant, without actual something signed by the jury, and that's illegal. Right. So in our community, they're not aware of that. So we have pamphlets, we do forums to educate, the Raza about these issues in English and in Spanish, right? And then we also have, am I missing another one? I might be missing more, but right now, one of the things that we have is we're very honored to be turning 40 years old. An organization that started in 1981, right after the Chicano movement, yeah, with similar principles, right? Defending the community, self-determination, creating our own political party, community control of community control, right? Not the police. And we are very blessed to have the opportunity to have our own pillar mural at Chicano Park.
Awesome.
So we are actually accepting donations. If anybody would like to donate to Unión del Barrio, you can Venmo us at Unión del Barrio. You can also follow us on Unión del Barrio, Instagram, Facebook. On our Facebook, we have over 130,000, I think, followers. And hopefully we get more. You know, we share a lot of information all the time.
Or they can always DM you and then
Right, yes. Please DM me if you have any information. If you're in LA and you have, you know, kids, youth that would love to be in Escuela Slan, we also have the Comités de Resistencia over here in LA, also have Escuela Slan in LA. Pretty much almost the same thing that is being done in San Diego. It's here. But yeah, please feel free to DM me. Even if it's just a question about school, if you don't know anything that you may want to ask, if you're uncertain, maybe even how to fill out a FAFSA, financial aid, how to apply for those scholarships, I sometimes help, I charge people, but I like editing essays. And I'm like, this is not the right thesis. You need a topic sentence, and you're doing run-on sentences and all of this. So I like geeking out like that. And I don't work right now, so you know that's an extra cash right there. And follow me for hopefully cooking content on my Chicana con Zafos Instagram. I'm a little shy on camera, so I'm trying to get a little bit more out there.
All good.
And I do sell some aprons, and I brought one for you.
Oh, hell yeah.
And also I brought a hat. It's one of the merch that Unión del Barrio has been selling to fundraise for the mural. But this is something for you. So.
Hell yeah, thank you. And you brought the food. Let's not forget the food.
And I brought you some food.
Oh, shit.
So Stolen Land.
Stolen Land. Look at that right there.
And my Cocina con Zafos apron.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know if you grill.
No, just cup of noodles. No.
Well,
I'll wear this.
Hopefully you get to grills during the summer or something.
Yes, most definitely. Well, I do got a barbecue grill. I'll throw it on, take a picture, and tag you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And they can get these where? They just DM
yeah, they
you?
can DM me. And
okay, everybody. Make sure you DM her. And what about these hats? Are these hats available too?
They're on, if you follow the UDB SD shop at Instagram, or again, Unión del Barrio, we have pretty much everything right there. DM us, please, and we also have them on our shop.
Awesome.
Or if you're in San Diego, in Barrio Logan, we do post up every Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. at 2078 Logan Avenue.
Okay. I just want to tell you something, and I don't know if you're going to like it or not, but I'm going to tell you, this is not going to be your last time here, okay? So, yeah.
Thank you.
We would definitely like to have you back. I felt blessed by your words, by your education.
I thought you were going to ask him about music, and I was like, oh, man.
See, but that's for part two.
Part two, okay.
Part two. That's for part two. I get to ask you your favorite team, Los Padres.
Los Padres, yes.
Padres.
Padres.
Los
Padres.
And I'll say Los Angeles Dodgers.
we should go to a game.
Yeah, exactly. So, other than that, shout outs.
Yes, I wrote them because everybody was hitting me up. So big shout out, obviously, to my mom. I know she's watching and she does not understand a word I'm saying because she does not speak English. So I'm going to have to translate again to her later. But thank you so much, Mom, for all the love and support. I know we were discussing this the other day that we don't usually say I love you because my mom, she was raised with that, you know, like we don't say I love yous, but she feeds us all the time. That's like her way of you know, loving us. My boyfriend, Juan Carlos Lozano, he's also a member of Unión del Barrio, and he likes to do music. And he also has a brand called Perseverance. I can never say
Perseverance.
Perseverance. I can't say it. So check him out. Also, if you follow me, you're gonna stumble across him. And then his mom's actually her birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
So sister Jessica. Shout out to my Unión del Barrio familia, both in LA, San Diego. Of course, Pablito. Thank you for for hooking it up, for making this happen. The Chicano Park Steering Committee. My whole Lopez family, there's so many of you from Oxnard to, and even in Fresno. my brother Abel, my brother Jose, my sister Laura, who got married yesterday in Tijuana.
Congratulations.
And I'm so sorry I couldn't go. My passport was not, it's expired. And with this whole COVID, I have not gone to renew it. And I want to get not just the ready lane, but I think I'm ready to fly. So I may have to get the other one too. The homie Armando from Longo. My friend Harry, comrade Harry. My cousin Robert, who, he's the one that got me into tapping into your podcast over a year, it seems like over a year ago.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you should check him out. He's from 74. So he's, that's why I was like, the music, I grew up and all that stuff because of my primos. And so thank you so much, for I guess linking us up through, YouTube. So Robert, my cousin Albert, my cousin Sandra, my cousin Greedy Loco, my best friend, my babe, my friend Jeff, my posse, my friend the sicko from the 760, my friend Rosie, Robert, Kina Bina, who's, you know what? It's so cool being friends with people because of your podcast. Awesome. Like Alonzo, like Kina.
Yes.
And I can probably list other people. So we're going to have a little party one day.
Hell yeah.
The homie Huicho, DJ Huicho, you have to interview him. He does amazing work in our community. He's a counselor, but he's from the barrio, from Logan. He has a scholarship for college students called Dale Gas. And he's actually having a vinyl-thon in Barrio Logan at the shop on June 26th. So maybe you should come out.
Yeah, most definitely.
And then Ernesto Vigil, the homie GPA. I know he's been mentioned here so many times. He's such a very, good friend of mine and supporter of. He's like, you have to tell your story. There's like so many of us that need to hear that, and
as a matter of fact, he'll eventually be here. He just has to give me a date because I know they said because of his job, if I'm correct.
Very cool. That's so cool. He's known me for more than 10 years through social media. So, but I eventually met him, and so we have a good relationship. The ALR podcast, the G Funk Junkies. Sorry, all of the Loganeras in Barrio Logan, Josie Talamantes, my friend Miguel Queso, my cousin Jessica, Felix in Fresno, the Brown Berets of Aztlán, Pop SD, Malvados Clique. City College, my community college, Chicano Studies there, my homegirl Tony, all my family in Michoacán, in Tijuana, my cousins in Tijuana, Little Lazy, all my family in Fresno. I mentioned that, I do come from a family of farm workers, so a lot of my family, not all of them are farm workers, but a lot of them stay in Fresno. Homeboy Billy Boy, my cousin Felix, Savage, Fees, Blanco, Says, Mikey, Ferbs, Joey, and if I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. And I have to end it with my brother, Carlos, rest in peace, and my homie, Quecho, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So with that being said, let me go ahead and say that this concludes our interview, and I just want to thank you for giving me the honor and the privilege to be able to sit across from you and have you educated me. I love, honestly, learning. I love being taught. I was always told if you know everything, you can never learn nothing.
Of course.
So I'm not one, I know everything because I don't, So thank you very much. So like I said, and this will not be your last time, so the door is always open.
Thank you.
And we'll have to set up another time.
Of course.
For you to come back so I could ask you all your favorite band and stuff like that. But other than that, let me go ahead and give a couple of shout outs. Let me go give it a shout out to my boy Alex right here for running the show. Let me go ahead and give it out to your boyfriend, the Perseverance brand. And my brother, what was your name again? Ricky. And also Alonso from San Diego. Thank you for coming through. Pablito, muchas gracias. You know what, Pablo? Let me say something. Out of all the people, and I'm pretty sure Alonso could tell you, when people always tell me, what interview do you recommend? One of the top 3 is yours. That's the God's honest truth. So other than that, Gutta Gone and his whole posse that was here, the harbor area, we in here. Today is, you know what? I forget sometimes Sunday,
the 12th.
Okay.
The 11th.
See, you forgot too. It's funny. Ever since COVID hit, because on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had my schedule set for my workout. So I knew what day it was by what body part I would work out, okay? But I've only been back at the gym for the last 3 weeks, so se me va. So everybody, Wednesday, we'll be back with 2 special guests you're not going to want to miss out. So I just want to thank once again Gutta Gone and Joanie Lopez for coming through all the way from San Diego. San Diego, stand up. Much love, much respect to all you guys. I got love for you guys. The door is always open for you guys. So thank you once again, and thank you once again. And
can you shout out Barrio Logan?
Barrio Logan, what's up? Much love, much respect. Throw the fist up in the air.
Hell yeah, 1904.
1904. We out of here.
You got it.